Chapter 487. Ning Cheng remained silent. He did not know how to comfort Jing Hao. Jing Hao had paid a lot for Shi Yulan. Ning Cheng did not expect that after the two of them went through so many hardships and arrived here, Shi Yulan unexpectedly abandoned Jing Hao and found a celestial river king. He did not express his opinion because he had never met Shi Yulan. As such, he had no idea what kind of person Shi Yulan was. However, with Ning Cheng's experience in the true cultivator world, even if he and Jing Hao came from the same planet, Jing Hao would not treat him with such sincerity. Obviously, Jing Hao had something to ask him for help, however, it had stirred up his emotions and was just venting it out. In that case, why didn't Brother Jing leave the ocean gambling city to fight for it? Why did you stay here? Ning Cheng asked. He wanted to ask about the fire origin, but he knew that now was not the time. Jing Hao finally recovered from his sad feelings and picked up the second pot of wine that the waiter had just brought over and took a sip before giving out a sigh. It's not that I didn't want to leave, but I couldn't leave at all. After Yulan left, I became so depressed that I ended up being instigated to enter the casino to forget some of the things that I did not want to remember. Ning Cheng noticed that this was the first time Jing Hao had addressed Yulan as such. Previously, he had referred to her as such. I owe billions of blue coins to the casino, and the deadline for repayment is approaching. I have been frantically trying to repay these blue coins over the years. After so many years, there are still hundreds of millions of blue coins that I have yet to pay off, alas. Ning Cheng asked in doubt, since there are still hundreds of millions of blue coins, can't you just pay them off? Jing Hao shook his head. The deadline is approaching, and there are only a few months left. If I can't pay off these blue coins before the deadline, I will become a slave and be mortgaged to others. From then on, there would no longer be a Jing Hao between the heavens and earth, only a slave with the same name. Ning Cheng turned silent. He had heard Lanya talk about the horrors of becoming a slave. I went to the casino to try my luck, but every time I failed to win back those blue coins, I ended up losing more and more. When Jing Hao spoke until here, Ning Cheng finally understood why Jing Hao wanted to go to the casino. If replaced with him, he estimated that other than going to the casino, he would not be able to earn hundreds of millions of blue coins in just a few months. This was simply a desperate gamble. So I want to ask you to do me a favor. After Jing Hao finished this sentence, Ning Cheng finally understood what the other party wanted him to do. It was to borrow money. He also could not come up with hundreds of millions of blue coins. Ning Cheng spoke up with an apologetic tone, Brother Jing, I really want to help you, but I do not have so many blue coins. I still have 100 million black coins on me, which is still a far cry from the amount you requested. Jing Hao's eyes flashed with a fiery glow as he spoke, Brother Ning, I just need you to lend me some black coins. I will definitely win back my capital in the casino. Ning Cheng was somewhat speechless as he spoke, Brother Jing, it's not that I don't believe in your gambling skills. As far as I know, it is absolutely impossible to make a fortune by gambling. Every gambler's road is a history of blood and tears of regret. I don't recommend you to gamble. Think about it, if casinos don't make money, how can they open casinos? Jing Hao stood up, grabbed Ning Cheng's clothes and spoke, Brother Ning, Big Brother Ning, please help me with this. I know that gambling does not end well, but I do not have a second path to take other than this one. If I don't pay back the money, then in a few months, I would end up as a slave. I would have no way out. Besides, the casino only takes a commission, and the casino itself does not participate in gambling. Entering gambling is entirely based on luck. Ning Cheng sneered, he did not even bother to answer Jing Hao. The casino does not participate in gambling, and only takes a commission. Who was he trying to deceive? He came from Earth and had seen too many of these kinds of things. Jing Hao had lived for thousands of years more than him, however, most of his time was spent on cultivation, or rather, he disdained to research and inquire about such things. Well, I won't try to persuade you. I still have 100 million black coins here, you can have it all. You don't have to talk about returning it. Ning Cheng took out the black coin card and handed it to Jing Hao. He had something to ask Jing Hao. As such, these 100 million black coins were nothing to him. Jing Hao took the black coin card and bowed towards Ning Cheng before speaking. Thank you, Brother Ning. Regardless of whether I succeed or not, I will always remember Brother Ning's kindness. It's not much, Brother Jing doesn't have to take it to heart. Ning Cheng quickly replied in a polite manner. These 100 million black coins were only equivalent to 1,000,000 blue coins, which was not much. Ning Cheng knew that the immortal cave he lived in cost about 1,000,000 blue coins a year. Jing Hao nodded and no longer remained polite. After putting away the black coins, he once again activated a soundproof restriction and spoke. Brother Ning, before we part ways, I want to tell you one thing. When I obtained the fire origin, there was also a fire origin bead. That trace of origin originated from the origin bead. However, my cultivation was too low at that time, so I couldn't touch the fire origin bead. Ning Cheng's heart suddenly started pounding. He had planned to ask Jing Hao where he found the fire origin, but he did not expect that Jing Hao would take the initiative to speak about it. Moreover, what surprised him even more was that there really was a fire origin bead there. After she obtained that trace of origin, she immediately went into seclusion. At that time, I thought that once her cultivation reached a high enough level, I would tell her about it. There is no need to tell her about it now. Here is a starry sky jade strip map, the place where I found the fire origin bead. I drew it in great detail, so I will now give it to you. Jing Hao took out a jade strip and handed it to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng subconsciously took the jade strip. Although Jing Hao took the initiative to give it to him, it made him feel ashamed instead. This, Brother Jing, I know about the origin, its value is simply immeasurable. The value of the origin bead is even more immeasurable. I really want this kind of thing, but I have been out here all year round making money, looking for all kinds of cultivation resources, and do not have any friends. You are also my only friend. The first time we met, you lent me 100 million black coins, knowing that I might not be able to pay it back. Giving this thing to you, I would feel the most satisfied in my heart. Jing Hao spoke with a sigh. That fire origin bead, he originally wanted to give it to Yulan, but unfortunately, she abandoned him. He found a mountain of gold, but he just scraped a trace of gold powder from the mountain of gold and brought it back to her, when she kicked him away. Ning Cheng did not know what kind of mood she would have when she found out that he still had a mountain of gold there. Brother Jing, with this jade strip, you can exchange it for tens of billions of blue coins anywhere. Ning Cheng slowly spoke. Jing Hao showed a self-deprecating smile. Brother Ning, you're just too tender. Do you think that I can exchange this jade strip for blue coins? If I took it out, it would be the same as throwing away my life. No one would take the initiative to give me 10 billion blue coins just because I took out a jade strip. He would take me to the place where the fire origin bead is, and after obtaining it, he would then kill me. Besides, I found this fire origin bead after going through a lot of hardships. I will not let these vampires take advantage of it. Brother Ning, we both come from the Yixing mainland, and I can see that you and I are the same kind of people. I have a metal-attributed main spiritual root, so I don't need that thing. I am willing to give it to you. In that case, Ning Cheng thanks Brother Jing for the gift. Ning Cheng put away the jade strip, stood up and bowed towards Jing Hao. He truly felt grateful towards Jing Hao. The origin bead was just too important to him. Moreover, he could see that Jing Hao's tone was very sincere, indicating that Jing Hao did not lie to him. Ning Cheng was a person who would respect others tenfold, not to mention that the origin bead was not something that could be measured in terms of value. If one used blue coins, then even if one filled the entire ocean gambling city, one would not be able to purchase the fire origin bead. He had not yet spoken, when Jing Hao took out the location of the origin bead. This made Ning Cheng make up his mind that if Jing Hao could not use the 100 million black coins to win, then he would take out the pile of blue coins in his ring. Giving was a mutual thing. Ning Cheng did not have the idea of taking advantage of others without giving anything in return. Jing Hao laughed and drank the second pot in one gulp. The sadness in his eyes and face from before had completely disappeared, as if the sad person from a moment ago was not him at all. Ning Cheng, you should go back and cultivate well. Your cultivation is too low. You should at least reach the celestial gatherer realm before you can go to that place. I'm going to the casino, regardless of success or failure, I will give it a try. Whether you regard me as a friend or not, I already regard you as a friend. Brother Jing, I'll accompany you to the casino. Ning Cheng also drank a mouthful of wine on the table and spoke up calmly. Jing Hao looked at Ning Cheng in doubt. I can see that you are a person who hates gambling, why would you want to accompany me? I do hate gambling, but I do not hate Brother Jing. I don't have many friends, but since Brother Jing regards me as a friend, then Brother Jing is also this Ning Cheng's friend from now on. Ning Cheng spoke with sincerity. He truly did not have many friends. Apart from Tai Shu Shi and Sung Wei, there were very few people who could truly become his bosom friends. Sun Hanrui and Liang Kersen were also his friends, however, they were both female cultivators. Ning Cheng definitely felt that there were some people targeting Jing Hao, however, since he regarded Jing Hao as a friend, he did not care about it. The friend he wanted to make was not the icing on the cake, but the charcoal in the snow. Similarly, he also hoped that he would not be the icing on the cake, but the charcoal in the snow. Well, from now on, there will no longer be a person called Jing Hao in this world. I will be called Jing Wuming from now on. Jing Hao did not expect that Ning Cheng would still treat him as a friend even though he knew that it would be troublesome to associate with him. Previously, when the two of them entered the rest stop to drink together, although it affected Ning Cheng, it was not too big of a deal. As long as Ning Cheng could explain it clearly, then no one would go against a cultivator in the plundering life realm. Because the reason why he and Ning Cheng came together was because they wanted to borrow money. But now that Ning Cheng accompanied him to the casino, it was completely different. This meant that they would advance and retreat together. He and Ning Cheng had the same thoughts, that Ning Cheng was a friend worth making. A true friend would only meet in the midst of adversity, not the kind of person who could share the glory and splendor, but not the hardships. At this moment, he realized that for countless years, when he had focused all his energy on that woman, he had missed out on many wonderful things. Friend, it was such a warm title, and now he also had one. Ning Cheng also understood the meaning behind Jing Hao's words. He just wanted to change his name and forget all about his past, he would rather be a nameless person. Chapter 488. The Ocean Gambling's premier casino was truly worthy of its name. In the entire Ocean Gambling City, there was not a second casino that could compare to the scale of this one. Ning Cheng followed Jing Hao through the entrance of the casino, only then did he realize how luxurious it was inside. After Ning Cheng came in, the first feeling he got was that it was very lively, and the second feeling he got was that it was very orderly. Even if there were so many people gambling here, it would not make people feel that it was messy. The entire hall of the casino was divided into different areas. Ning Cheng's eyes swept around, and found that each area had a different gambling method. There were all kinds of private rooms around the casino, and the staircase leading to the second floor was also guarded. Jing Hao, you sure have guts. I told you to fuck off, yet you still dared to come here. The brown-haired man, who had previously stepped on Jing Wuming's feet, suddenly appeared in front of Jing Wuming and Ning Cheng. Deacon Teng, can't I return the money? Jing Wuming calmly stared at the brown-haired man in front of him and spoke. The brown-haired man looked at Jing Wuming up and down in doubt before looking at Ning Cheng behind Jing Wuming. He then sneered and spoke, I was wondering why you had the money to pay it back. It turns out that you caught an idiot. As the brown-haired man finished, he turned his head towards Ning Cheng and called out, Kid, this father will tell you, in the Ocean Gambling City, no one would dare to threaten you, you do not need to be scared to the point of immediately throwing out your pitiful little money. This brown-haired man was also a celestial novice cultivator, however, Ning Cheng did not want to cause any trouble and did not answer his question. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not answer his words, the brown-haired man gave a cold snort, and did not continue to pay attention to Ning Cheng. His original plan was that once Ning Qing dared to refute him, he would immediately teach Ning Qing a lesson, but now that Ning Qing did not reply, he could not do anything about it. First, pay back the 10 million black coins, and then get the hell out of here. The brown-haired man spoke to Jing Wuming without any trace of politeness. Jing Wuming ignored the brown-haired man and took Ning Qing directly to the chip counter. After returning 10 million black coins, he exchanged them for 9 chips worth 10 million black coins each. Although the brown-haired man wanted to continue finding trouble with Jing Wuming's actions made him feel helpless. Now that Jing Wuming paid off the debt, if he were to look for trouble with Jing Wuming, then he would only end up troubling himself. Brother Jing, this brown-haired fellow seems to be deliberately targeting you. Ning Qing spoke with a sound transmission. Jing Wuming made a gesture and sent a sound transmission. I will tell you about this later if there is an opportunity. Right now, let's go all out. Before coming here, Ning Qing had already heard Jing Wuming talk about several types of gambling methods. Putting everything on the line did not mean putting everything on the line, rather, it was a gambling method, also known as gambling array. This kind of gambling was similar to mahjong, but it was simpler. There were 4 people gambling with a total of 108 cards, and each card had a certain amount of spiritual qi. This kind of card was also called a flag card and could be used as an array flag. When gambling, each person would draw 12 cards and form a flag array. 12 cards with different spiritual energies were 12 array flags, and they could form countless array formations. These spirit chi cards were divided into 1-line spirit chi flag cards to 99-line spirit chi flag cards according to the different spirit chi. Moreover, every time these 108 cards were shuffled, the spiritual chi lines would change. Even if the 4 of them used their own array flag cards to form the same array formation, because of the different spirit chi cards used in each position, the final compatibility of the array formation would be different. This did not mean that the more powerful the spirit chi, the higher the value of the flag. Different positions would require completely different amounts of spirit chi. The final winner would, of course, be the array formation with the highest compatibility. However, the most attractive thing about this array formation was not this, but the exchange of flags. After the 4 people drew 12 cards, they would not immediately take out their own array formation. Instead, they would put out a flag card that they felt did not have much use for. Then, just like playing mahjong, they would take out the remaining flags on the table. If the other party also felt that the flag you put out was useless, they would generally ignore it. However, if someone felt that the flag you put out was useful to them, they would immediately take it back and exchange it for another one. If the flag you put out happened to be the one that the other party needed to arrange the most suitable array formation, then the other party could immediately spread out their own array formation. As long as the other party did not have a more powerful array formation, then the one who spread out the array formation would win. This gambling method did not depend on the level of array formation, because this kind of low-level array formation would not be able to show its level. Rather, it depended on how to use the conditions in front of them to form the most compatible array formation. As for the strength of the array formation's compatibility, the gambling table would give an exact score. Just like diving, there was a degree of difficulty and a degree of quality of completion. This was what gambling was all about. Jing Wuming quickly found a place, and Ning Qing sat down next to Jing Wuming. In this place, one could not use spiritual consciousness at all. On the surface, it looked like Jing Wuming said that there was no problem of cheating. However, Ning Qing did not think so. As long as it was a casino, there was no such thing as fairness. After playing a few cards, Ning Qing became very clear about this gambling method. Out of the 9 chips Jing Wuming had, only 4 remained. So far, Jing Wuming had only won once. Moreover, he had only won a small amount of money. Because of the one time he won, the array formation he arranged was barely better than the other 3 people. Although Jing Wuming remained calm, Ning Qing could feel the anxiety and uneasiness in his heart. With another 12 flags in hand, Ning Qing could see that Jing Wuming's flags this time were quite good. As long as he had a 9-line can flag, it would be a perfect concealing moon array. Even if he did not wait for this can flag, Jing Wuming's concealing moon array would definitely win. Jing Wuming obviously did not want to win a small amount of money, as such, he just kept waiting. Ning Chen also understood Jing Wuming's mood. It was not easy to encounter a perfect array formation within gambling arrays. Do not look at the tens of millions of black coins he would lose every time he won or lost. Once he obtained a perfect array formation, he would be able to win more than 2 billion black coins at once, which was equivalent to a flower blossoming. Jing Wuming did not wait in vain. When the opposite cultivator threw out the 9-line can flag for the 6th time, Jing Wuming immediately grabbed the flag and put it on his array formation. Pushing it with both hands, he spoke with a smile, "Perfect concealing moon array, 800 million black coins per person. What kind of card did you just take back?" Contrary to Jing Wuming's expectations, the three people on the opposite side did not show as much annoyance as he had imagined, nor did they happily hand over the black coins. Instead, they stared at Jing Wuming with cold eyes. 9-line spiritual chi can card, the one you just played. Jing Wuming took out the 9-line can card from the concealing moon array. The cultivator laughed and suddenly spoke up in a loud voice, "What I just threw out was clearly a 12-line can card. This 9-line can card was thrown out from the start. Do you want to cheat?" "Deacon Teng, someone is cheating." In fact, without waiting for the cultivator to call out, the brown-haired man had already walked over with a grin. Jing Wuming's heart sank. He knew that it was over. Once he was caught cheating, he would only end up in a dead end. Most importantly, he had also pulled Ning Cheng in. Cheating in this kind of casino, turning into minced meat was already a good thing. At this time, how could he not know that these three people were also on the same side as Deacon Teng? In such a situation, he did not want to refute it. If the other party had allowed him to refute it, they would not have done such a thing to him. He suddenly stood up and spoke, "Ning Cheng is just a card reader. This has nothing to do with him. Let him out." Seeing that Jing Wuming still wanted to speak, Ning Cheng pulled Jing Wuming back and spoke, "Don't speak anymore, let me do it." "Ha, Jing Hao, you really are looking for death. You are so poor that you dare to cheat in our place. I will make sure that you won't even be able to beg for death." The brown-haired man laughed wildly. Because he was too proud of himself, he forgot that this place was a casino. Many eyes swept over, causing the brown-haired man to quickly restrain his smile and speak with cupped fists, "Everyone, please don't mind me. My voice was a bit loud just now. Sorry. My friend doesn't want the money he won. We need to leave now." Ning Cheng saw that the brown-haired man wanted to say something and immediately spoke up in front of him. "Leave? Are you still daydreaming?" The brown-haired man had not finished his words when Ning Cheng took out a crystal ball and put it in the hands of the brown-haired man and spoke, "I only have one of these crystal balls. Can you see if we can leave?" The brown-haired man grabbed the crystal ball and immediately saw the situation on the gambling table. Jing Hao had not cheated, he had clearly won. "Kid, you really are something." The brown-haired man crushed the crystal ball in his hands and spoke while staring at Ning Cheng. A trivial plundering life realm cultivator, coming to the casino for the first time, yet still had such a scheming mind, knowing to record the crystal ball in advance. Of course, he did not believe that Ning Cheng only had one. He also understood the meaning behind Ning Cheng's words, that is, to let them go and let this matter pass. If he did not let them go, then this crystal ball would definitely not be the only one. The casino certainly had a detailed surveillance video, but for him, as long as Jing Hao did not have it, then he would not care about what he said. Now that Jing Hao had actually recorded it with a crystal ball, it made him feel helpless. If he really dared to shed all pretense of cordiality, then this plundering life realm kid would directly take out the crystal ball, which would completely ruin the reputation of the casino. "Kid, you are ruthless, get the fuck out of here. If you let me see something bad, or hear something bad, then just wait for me." The brown-haired man roared at Ning Cheng with hatred. "Let's go." Ning Cheng pulled Jing Wuming, who was still standing on the side, and quickly left the casino. Only after leaving the casino did Jing Wuming give out a sigh. Brother Ning, this time it's all thanks to you, I really am too. He had also glanced at the crystal ball that Ning Cheng had taken out, and of course understood why the brown-haired man had let them go. No wonder Ning Cheng could come to the Lesser Thunder Star with the cultivation of plundering life realm, and even come out safe and sound. Compared to Ning Cheng, he was simply too far behind. He also knew that Ning Cheng could only choose to leave at that time. If this matter turned into a mess, then with their strength, it would only end up as a dead end. Brother Ning, I am ready to accept my fate. If you have the ability in the future, then come to the Ocean Gambling City to see if I am still alive. Alas, forget it. Jing Wuming had not finished his words when he gave out another long sigh. Ning Cheng patted Jing Wuming's shoulder. Brother Jing, don't worry, I will help you. As for that brown-haired fellow, if he thinks that this matter is over, then he is truly blind. The brown-haired male cultivator would never have thought that the video of him threatening Ning Cheng had also been recorded by Ning Cheng. For Ning Cheng, he currently did not have the strength to teach this brown-haired fellow a lesson. However, as long as he continued to cultivate, one day he would definitely come back to get his face back. It wasn't his personality to swallow a loss. Chapter 489. Brother Jing, where do you live? Ning Cheng asked while simultaneously putting all of the blue essence stone ore into an empty ring. Jing Wuming spoke up in a desolate voice, where would I find a place to live? I can only stay in the Ocean Gambling City for a day, waiting for the day when I become a slave. Don't worry about it. There are some blue essence stone mines here. If your debt does not exceed 1 billion blue coins, then these blue essence stone mines should be enough. Ning Cheng spoke while handing over the ring in his hand to Jing Wuming. Jing Wuming received the ring in a daze. After a few moments, he spoke up in shock. Brother, are you saying that I can pay off my debts? Not waiting for Ning Cheng to answer, his spiritual consciousness swept towards the large pile of blue essence stone ore inside the ring, causing him to immediately speak out in surprise. I'm finally alive, I'm alive. Seeing Jing Wuming sober up and wanting to thank him, Ning Cheng raised his hand and stopped him. Brother Jing, you don't have to say any unnecessary words. Just go and pay off your debt. There is also a jade slip in the ring, which is my residence. After you pay off your debt, come to my residence and cultivate in seclusion. My strength is still too low. I need to go back and cultivate in seclusion. As for getting back at this place, we'll talk about that later. Jing Wuming nodded and did not speak. For a celestial novice cultivator, 1 billion blue coins was nothing. But to him, it was a matter of life and death. No matter how precious the fire origin bead was, he had only provided a location. He had not actually taken out the fire origin bead. Ning Cheng was a plundering life realm cultivator, yet he was able to take out so many blue essence ores at once. Moreover, to help him to such a degree, it showed that he was definitely doing his best. It was his luck to have such a friend. Inside a room in the Ocean Gambling's premier casino, the brown-haired male cultivator who had previously opposed Ning Cheng and Jing Wuming stood in front of a beautiful woman. You said that Jing Hao has already paid off his debt. In other words, after a few months, he won't need to be a slave anymore. The beautiful woman's tone was cold, with a trace of sharp killing intent. Yes, he took out a pile of blue essence stones to pay off the debt. It should have been given to him by that kid called Ning Cheng. For a plundering life realm and to take out so many blue essence stones, that kid was not simple. Moreover, that kid is also very scheming, otherwise, I would have been able to kill Jing Hao that time. The brown-haired male cultivator replied with a respectful tone. Forget it, Celestial River King Shang Mao should not remember such a trivial matter. Consider that Jing Hao's luck. Right, where does that person called Ning Cheng live? Why would he help Jing Hao? The beautiful woman asked again. The brown-haired male cultivator had apparently investigated Ning Cheng's residence. When the beautiful woman asked about it, he immediately replied, that plundering life realm ant was brought here by a celestial shatterer cultivator and lives in the Tier Immortal Cave district. Currently, Jing Hao also lives in the immortal cave rented by Ning Cheng and changed his name to Jing Wuming. The beautiful woman frowned for a moment, and after a good while, she spoke, "The Tier Immortals Cave District is not something that we can intervene in. You have to pay attention to it, they will eventually have to leave the ocean gambling city. Also, don't go overboard with the gambling rules in the casino. Otherwise, it won't be good for our casino. That's all. You can leave now." "Yes." After the brown-haired male cultivator replied, he quickly bowed and left. "Brother Xiaocheng, after paying off my debts, I feel completely relaxed. I estimate that as long as I go into seclusion for a few more years, I would be able to break through the Celestial Novice Realm and advance to the Celestial Shatterer Realm." In Ning Cheng's immortal cave, Jing Wuming's face was filled with joy, without even a shred of decadence. Even Ning Cheng could feel that his essence, qi, and spirit had undergone a huge change. A person's spirit truly had a close relationship with their cultivation. "Brother Jing. Xiaocheng, just call me Wuming from now on. We brothers are too polite with each other." Jing Wuming immediately raised his hand and stopped Ning Cheng from addressing him. In fact, in his heart, he felt that his qualifications should be much better than Ning Cheng's. Now that the shackles on his body had been removed, and he no longer had any other thoughts, his cultivation would definitely advance very quickly. In the future, it would only grow further and further apart from Ning Cheng. Moreover, he did not want to lose Ning Cheng as a friend, so he simply called him by his name. It would also prevent Ning Cheng from acting respectful towards him as his cultivation improved in the future. As for the name Ning Xiaocheng, he had specifically asked Ning Cheng about it. Therefore, he chose to address him casually out of this consideration. Ning Cheng did not care about it. Not to mention that Jing Wuming was only a celestial novice cultivator. Even if Jing Wuming became a celestial river king in the future, he would not feel as constrained as Jing Wuming thought he would be. "Okay, I don't know much about Starry Sky's cultivation. Can you tell me about it?" Ning Cheng had wanted to ask Lanya about this matter. However, he and Lanya only had a mutually beneficial relationship and had not yet risen to the point where he could ask about the other party's cultivation methods and some cultivation experiences. "Naturally, even if you don't say it, I would have told you about it. You are currently in the plundering life realm. After surmounting the tribulation in the plundering life realm, you would then advance to the domain realm. Once you reach the domain realm, your cultivation will begin to grow stronger. After you reach the domain realm, I suggest that you go to the Ocean Gambling City's arena. There are many things that you would not be able to learn there. A cultivator's strength lies not only in his cultivation, but also in his attacks. The arena has all kinds of cultivators, and you can encounter all kinds of means. You will slowly grow in there. At that time, my essence, qi, and spirit had completely deteriorated, which is why I did not dare to go there." Jing Wuming's statement was the opposite of Lanya's. Lanya had initially advised him not to go to the arena, not to go to the brothels, and not to go to the casinos. But now, the first place he and Jing Wuming went to was the casino, and Jing Wuming then advised him to go to the arena. However, Ning Cheng did not think that Jing Wuming was wrong, nor did he think that Lanya was wrong. Lanya knew that his cultivation was too low, and that going to the arena would only result in death. However, Jing Wuming had traveled from the graceful star mainland to the starry skies, and had experienced many life and death situations. He knew that if he did not face life and death, he would never be able to transcend life and death. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng suddenly understood Shi Yulan's thoughts. Shi Yulan and Jing Wuming had traveled together all the way to this place, and had experienced many life and death situations along the way. She was either afraid, tired of a life where she could die at any time, or tired of it. Even if Jing Wuming had given her a lot, this kind of life was not what she wanted. She wanted to live a stable life. However, now that she had come to the starry skies, could she live a stable life? Jing Wuming did not know what Ning Cheng was thinking and continued with a dignified voice, "Xiaocheng, you might lose your life if you go to the arena. I suggest that you go. Otherwise, once you leave the Ocean Gambling City in the future, once you encounter danger, you would still lose your life. Speaking until here, Jing Wuming stood up and gave out a sigh. Since we chose this path, there is no turning back. Before I pay off my debts, I do not want to mention the name Shi Yulan. However, now that I think about it, she should be tired of living a precarious life with me. Maybe she doesn't want to be a burden to me. Seeing Jing Wuming speaking about Shi Yulan, Ning Qin walked over to Jing Wuming's side and patted him on the shoulder. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Why would a real man worry about not having a wife? Ha, well said. Jing Wuming laughed and did not continue to talk about Shi Yulan. Letting you go to the arena, there is another benefit, that is, it can help you perfect your domain. It would be of great benefit to you when you cross the Nirvana tribulation in the future. After crossing the Nirvana tribulation, you will reach the 3 realms of celestial scryer, also known as the 3 realms of Nirvana. The first realm is the celestial novice realm, which allows you to understand a part of the starry sky's laws and absorb the starry sky's essence chi for cultivation, just like my current realm. With your current plundering life realm, you cannot understand the starry sky's laws and can only absorb spiritual chi. Jing Wuming apparently did not know that Ning Qing could absorb starry sky's essence chi for cultivation, but Ning Qing did not explain it. Since he did not know how to explain it, he chose not to explain it. After the celestial novice realm is the celestial shatterer realm. The celestial shatterer realm means that one can destroy and shatter an ordinary planet with their own abilities. Of course, I'm talking about planets with relatively weak heaven and earth laws. Such planets are not even comparable to the I Ching mainland. Generally, it is a small planet with no life and low-level laws. Jing Wuming feared that Ning Qing did not understand it very well and explained in detail. After the celestial shatterer realm is the celestial gatherer realm. However, the celestial gatherer realm is many times more difficult than the celestial shatterer realm. The celestial gatherer realm relies on one's own powerful cultivation, using the fragments of the starry sky, or some other things, to condense a small planet. According to the level of each person's ability, the condensed planet can be either strong or weak. However, even the most powerful celestial gatherer cultivator cannot condense a life planet. Ning Qing felt very interested in condensing a planet. Wuming, is it possible to condense a life planet in the celestial river's 3 realms or the destiny's 3 realms? Jing Wuming shook his head. Otherwise, even a starry sky emperor cannot condense a life planet. Starry sky emperor. An existence with a cultivation even higher than a celestial river king? Ning Qing only knew that celestial river kings had the highest cultivation. It was the first time he had heard of a starry sky emperor. Jing Wuming nodded. Yes, starry sky emperors, celestial lords and celestial river kings generally do not depend on cultivation, but rather on reaching a certain level of cultivation. The destiny's 3 realms are divided into the heaven-seated realm, the life and death realm and the eternal realm. As long as one's cultivation reaches the heaven-seated realm, one can become a celestial river king. However, a starry sky emperor is at least an eternal existence. They control a starry sky, and with a wave of their hand, they can collapse the celestial river and reverse the flow of the star positions. Each of them is an existence with terrifying spirit powers. So strong. Ning Qing sighed. He knew what a celestial river was equivalent to. It was equivalent to a small galaxy. As Jing Wuming spoke until here, he also felt a little lonely. In the vast universe, I do not know how many starry sky existences exist. Even if one cultivated to the starry sky emperor realm, what can one do in this vast universe? Ha, Wuming, the most indispensable thing for people is fighting spirit. If you don't even have fighting spirit, thinking about other things would just be in vain. Who can be sure that we will not become starry sky emperors in the future? Will we not break through this starry sky in the future? Ning Qing did not feel depressed because there were too many powerhouses in the vast starry sky. Instead, he felt even more eager to reach the peak of the starry sky. Jing Wuming clenched his fists and laughed. That's right, who can be sure that we brothers will not ascend to the position of starry sky emperor in the future? Chapter 490. That's right. Ning Qing smiled. In any case, Jing Wuming had already come out of the depression of losing Shi Yulan. Jing Wuming understood Ning Cheng's meaning and spoke up, "You rented this immortal cave for 10 years. After 10 years, I will be leaving the ocean gambling city. You should also leave with me. This is not a place for us to live." Ning Cheng nodded, "Of course I have to leave, I will not stay in this place for long. I'm not very familiar with the Lesser Thunder Star. Where do you want to go?" Jing Wuming cautiously spoke up, "If nothing unexpected happens, I will definitely advance to the Celestial Shatterer realm in 10 years. I signed up to participate in the Orchid Burrow Celestial River's Manluan Starry Skies tryouts. If selected, I might leave the Lesser Thunder Star." "What is the Starry Sky tryouts?" Ning Cheng quickly asked. "This is the Celestial Sky Realm tryouts. The participants must be cultivators who have not formed a celestial bridge. Therefore, Celestial Novice, Celestial Shatterer and Celestial Gatherer cultivators can all participate. This tryout was not held by the Orchid Burrow Celestial River but by the Striking Order Starry Skies. The Orchid Burrow Celestial River was just an unremarkable celestial river within the Striking Order Starry Skies, however, the Orchid Burrow Celestial River King attached great importance to it. If the Orchid Burrow Celestial River produces a truly talented cultivator, then the Striking Order Starry Skies Emperor will definitely reward the Orchid Burrow Celestial River." "Wait." Ning Cheng interrupted Jing Wuming's words. "Wuming, are you saying that the tryouts will start from each planet, then the Celestial River, and finally the Striking Order Starry Skies?" "Yes, I heard that even the Starry Sky selection isn't the final. The most outstanding Nirvana cultivators could represent the Starry Sky and enter the vast universe to participate in the final competition. I don't know what the final prize for the competition would be, but as long as one could enter the Striking Order's Starry Skies, or even the Orchid Burrow Celestial River, the reward would be an unimaginable wealth. My requirements are not very high, as long as I can leave the Orchid Burrow Celestial River, I will be satisfied." As Jing Wuming reached the end, his tone became even more impassioned. Apparently, he also wanted to achieve better results. "Unfortunately, your cultivation is too low. Otherwise, if the two of us participated together, it would have been much more enjoyable." Jing Wuming couldn't help but give out a sigh as he thought of Ning Cheng's cultivation. Jing Wuming wanted to advance to the Celestial Shatterer realm as soon as possible, while Ning Cheng wanted to quickly improve his cultivation. As such, the two of them immediately went into secluded cultivation. After reaching the Plundering Life realm, Ning Cheng's cultivation speed did not slow down by even half a step. Inside the Lesser Thunder Star, there were no bottlenecks in his cultivation. The only thing that mattered was whether he could absorb the Starry Sky's essence chi and transform it. The strength of the mysterious yellow formless was based on the mysterious yellow origin, while the mysterious yellow bead was the birthplace of the mysterious yellow origin. For Ning Cheng, the cultivation conditions in this place were definitely the best. After 2 years of continuous seclusion, Ning Cheng's cultivation finally reached the great circle of the 9th level of Plundering Life realm. After Ning Cheng came out of seclusion, the first thing he did was to find Jing Wuming. He wanted to know if Jing Wuming had come out of seclusion. If Jing Wuming did not come out of seclusion, then he would quietly leave the Lesser Thunder Star to cross the tribulation. According to Jing Wuming, he would need at least a few years to advance to the Celestial Shatterer realm. However, Ning Cheng did not see Jing Wuming and only saw a jade strip. "Brother Xiao Cheng, I have come out. Originally, I thought that it would take me 6 or 7 years to advance to the Celestial Shatterer realm. I didn't expect that I would have accumulated enough resources over the years. Moreover, I also managed to make a breakthrough in my state of mind. I actually managed to break through in just a little more than a year. When I come out of seclusion, you will still be in seclusion. Cultivate well. If I don't have time to come back within 10 years, I will have someone bring you some blue coins and bring you to the Thunder City." Wuming. Ning Cheng put away the jade strip. Ning Cheng knew about the Thunder City. It was the premier city of the Lesser Thunder Star. It was the city where the Celestial Lord resided. Since Jing Wuming went to the Thunder City, then he must have gone to participate in the Starry Skies tryouts. Ning Qing changed his appearance and even changed his aura before carefully leaving the ocean gambling city. He was just a nobody who had come out of seclusion for a few years. As long as he did not make a high-profile appearance, the people in the casino would not pay any special attention to him. After coming out of the ocean gambling city, Ning Qing did not look for a place to cross the tribulation. Instead, he brought out his 5-star battle disc and prepared to leave the Lesser Thunder Star and enter the starry skies. As for the reason why Ning Qing chose to cross the tribulation in the starry skies, he had already considered it. He planned to immediately look for the fire origin bead after crossing the tribulation. Only by placing this thing inside the mysterious yellow bead would it be the most secure. Ning Qing controlled the trashiest battleship to leave the Lesser Thunder Star without anyone noticing. Ning Qing controlled the trashiest battleship to leave the Lesser Thunder Star without anyone noticing. The speed of the 5-star battle disc sifting orchid, compared to ordinary flight-type weapons, was already very fast. However, within the starry skies, the speed of this flight-type weapon could only be described with one word: slow. After flying for 2 months, Ning Qing finally stopped on a barren broken meteorite. He decided to cross the tribulation here. For cultivators who had not yet advanced to the celestial novice realm, as long as they could absorb the starry sky's essence chi for cultivation, it would be much more powerful compared to the true cultivation world's rank 9 heavenly pills. In less than half a day, Ning Qing attracted the domain thunder tribulation. As the lightning arcs continued to descend, Ning Qing felt that something was missing. Ordinary cultivators would not be able to block this thunder tribulation. However, for Ning Qing, this thunder tribulation was a bit weak. After a few waves of the thunder tribulation, the mysterious yellow origin suddenly became active and easily helped Ning Qing break through the cultivation barrier of the plundering life realm, opening up a new domain. A brand new perception and feeling welled up in his heart, causing Ning Qing to instantly forget about the thunder tribulation. At this moment, he felt that he had become the master of this universe, able to control everything with just a wave of his hand. The entire starry skies had become his, a space that he could freely change at will. No, this feeling was absolutely wrong. At the same time that Ning Qing felt that something was wrong, his understanding of the mysterious yellow origin grew even clearer. Or rather, with the help of the mysterious yellow origin, he gained a much more thorough understanding of the realm he was in. This is a domain, this is his domain, Ning Qing finally understood. His domain was completely different from what Lanya and Jing Wuming had told him. According to what Ning Qing had heard, the domain realm was the process of forming a domain. A cultivator who had just entered the domain realm would not have a complete domain. Cultivators had to wait until their domain reached completion, before they could begin to cross the nirvana tribulation and advance to the celestial novice realm, the true starry sky realm. However, at this moment, Ning Qing felt that his domain was gradually improving. He could even control the space within his domain realm and use his domain to arbitrarily bind everything around him. This was not the process of his domain reaching completion, but the scene of his domain reaching completion. What the hell was going on? Ning Qing closed his eyes and immersed himself in his domain. As Ning Qing immersed himself in his own domain, everything around him turned quiet. Only 1 or 2 meteorites occasionally whizzed past his head. Boom! Catcha! A thick lightning arc suddenly descended without any warning, breaking Ning Qing's silence. Caught off guard, 2 thick lightning arcs directly struck Ning Qing's chest. Ning Qing was almost torn apart by these 2 lightning arcs. His bones completely deformed at this moment, while his chest tore open and spurted out blood. This kind of terrifying change suddenly woke Ning Qing up. What was going on? Didn't he just cross the domain realm thunder tribulation? How could such a terrifying lightning arc still fall? Boom boom boom. Ning Qing did not even have the time to figure out what was going on, when dozens of similarly thick lightning arcs descended. The lightning arcs had not yet fallen on Ning Qing's body, but the terrifying aura caused Ning Qing to involuntarily feel fear. This was a thunder tribulation that wanted to take his life. It was definitely not something that any of the previous thunder tribulations could compare to. Ning Qing could no longer think about his domain and suddenly brought out the everlasting blue Thunder City. Bang bang bang. Since cultivating to the soul essence realm, Ning Cheng had never felt like this. The everlasting blue thunder city had just been brought out when the lightning arcs smashed it to pieces. The remaining lightning arcs continued to bombard his body, causing large chunks of flesh and blood to fly out. His bones no longer deformed, but instead started to break apart inch by inch, while his internal organs started to explode. Ning Cheng felt a kind of fear of death. Could it be that he would not be able to survive today? He brought out 36 cosmic true devil axes, brought out the flame beacon diagram, brought out the Nirvana spear, and even brought out the everlasting blue thunder city's shadow. Ka. The true devil axes shattered one after another, the flame beacon diagram turned into flying ash under the lightning arcs, the Nirvana spear blasted into the depths of the broken star, and the everlasting blue thunder city's shadow once again turned into nothingness. The powerful lightning arcs blasted Ning Cheng into the ground, causing Ning Cheng to be unable to even breathe. What the hell was going on? Within the endless starry skies, the next wave of thunder tribulation was still brewing. Ning Cheng did not need to think about it to know that when the next wave of thunder tribulation descended, it would be the time of his death. He had a thunder spiritual root, which allowed him to absorb the thunder source for cultivation, and he also had the everlasting blue thunder city, which allowed him to absorb the thunder source. However, this thunder tribulation was too terrifying and too powerful. He simply could not resist it. No, this was not a domain realm thunder tribulation, this was a nirvana tribulation. Ning Cheng suddenly understood. He had just advanced to the domain realm, and his domain realm had already reached the Great Circle. Under such powerful laws, he could directly start to cross the nirvana tribulation. After understanding the reason, Ning Cheng's fighting spirit once again soared. He was afraid that he did not know the reason, but now that he knew that it was a nirvana tribulation, why would he fear it? What's more, he was also a body-forging cultivator. At this moment, Ning Cheng crazily operated the mysterious yellow formless and the body-forging cultivation method. What made Ning Cheng pleasantly surprised was that, after taking control of the surrounding domain, his cultivation began to rise once again, while his broken body also began to heal. Boom boom boom. Dense lightning arcs descended, but Ning Cheng did not have the previous hesitation. What was there to be afraid of when the eggs were facing up? Nirvana, nirvana, how could one survive without nirvana? Ning Cheng did not know if other people's nirvana tribulations were the same as his, but he could only think so. Although his corporeal body was broken and his bones were broken, Ning Cheng's cultivation rose a lot after knowing that it was a nirvana tribulation. Once again bringing out the everlasting blue thunder city, Ning Cheng forcibly pulled out the nirvana spear and placed it over his head. Ka. The everlasting blue thunder city once again shattered, while the nirvana spear was also blasted into the depths of the broken star. The remaining lightning arcs continued to fall on Ning Cheng's body. The powerful thunder source and the essence chi within the starry skies converged, causing Ning Cheng's breathing to stagnate. At the same time, it also caused Ning Cheng's cultivation to rise crazily. The mysterious yellow origin also seemed to have gone crazy, overflowing within Ning Cheng's body, as if it knew that its master was in trouble. Boom! A mysterious feeling broke through all the shackles, allowing Ning Cheng to grasp it. At this moment, his sea of consciousness seemed to have turned into a starry sky. This kind of power made Ning Cheng ecstatic. He knew that he was about to step into the celestial novice realm. Chapter 491. Boom boom boom. Another wave of thunder tribulation descended. This time Ning Cheng did not even have the time to bring out the everlasting blue thunder city. The only thing he could do was to crazily operate the mysterious yellow formless and the body forging cultivation method. The massive amount of starry sky essence chi felt like a huge whirlpool as Ning Cheng sucked it in. Ning Cheng did not have the time to sigh at the might of absorbing the starry sky's essence chi at the celestial novice realm when the thunder tribulation arcs continuously descended on his body. His already badly mutilated body was once again covered in blood and flesh, but what made Ning Cheng surprised was that this time his bones did not continue to break, rather under the influence of the body forging cultivation method, they gradually repositioned and healed. Ning Cheng instantly understood the reason. The Nirvana Thunder Tribulation was indeed very powerful. However, after advancing to the Celestial Novice Realm, his cultivation had risen, allowing him to absorb the Thunder Source and cultivate his body-forging body. This Nirvana Thunder Tribulation seemed to be endless. Ning Cheng barely managed to form a balance with the Thunder Arc Swords, but he was not willing to bring out the everlasting Blue Thunder City. This was the best time for him to forge his body. Ning Cheng absorbed a large amount of Starry Sky Essence Chi, but Ning Cheng soon felt a little lost. When he was in the Plundering Life Realm, if he could absorb such a massive amount of Starry Sky True Essence, his cultivation would definitely improve continuously. But now, his cultivation was only slowly stabilizing, and the situation of his cultivation soaring was no longer there. Ning Cheng also felt helpless. He knew what the reason was. The laws here were much more powerful compared to the true cultivation world. Coupled with the fact that his cultivation had yet to reach the Celestial Novice Realm, he could absorb the Starry Sky's Essence Chi, which was much more effective compared to spiritual Chi. This allowed his cultivation to rise rapidly. In just 3 years, he advanced from the late-stage Crucible Transformation Realm to the full circle of the Plundering Life Realm. However, now that he had a Celestial Novice cultivation, the effect of absorbing the Starry Sky's Essence Chi immediately deteriorated. In other words, compared to other cultivators, he had no advantage. If he wanted to maintain the same cultivation speed as before, he would have to find a place with higher quality Starry Sky Essence Chi or use higher grade cultivation resources. Fortunately, his body tempering cultivation technique was not affected. Despite the continuous lightning bolts, his body was still growing stronger. Bang! When the last few lightning arcs fell on Ning Cheng's body, which had been badly mutilated by the Thunder Tribulation arcs, started to heal. Moreover, the healing speed was also getting faster and faster. Ning Cheng, who was lying on the ground, did not move. On one side was circulating his cultivation method to heal himself, while on the other side was using the body-forging cultivation method to recondense his body. At this moment, his cultivation was unable to rise, but his body had advanced to the level 7 God physique. The lightning tribulation dissipated, and the surroundings returned to their original state. Not knowing for how long, Ning Cheng finally opened his eyes and slowly sat up. The Starry Sky Essence force rampaging through his body made him want to roar. His body, which had been torn apart by the Thunder Tribulation, had already disappeared without a trace. If not for his sparse and messy hair, which proved that he had just been struck by the Thunder Tribulation, Ning Cheng would have even suspected that he had just fallen asleep. After advancing to a rank 7 God body, even Ning Cheng felt that his body had become a bit too perfect. The perfect body of a body-refining cultivator was fully manifested at this time. His only regret was that his skin was a little pale, which was probably caused by excessive blood loss. As he continued to cultivate, he would slowly return to normal. As soon as Ning Cheng raised his hand, he felt as if he could grab everything around him at any time, whether it was tangible or intangible. This should be the manifestation of a full circle domain, Ning Cheng thought. When he was in the sea opening realm, he already had a false domain. Although he did not have anyone to teach him, but under the continuous improvement of the mysterious yellow formless, his domain had almost reached perfection after he advanced to the Plundering Life Realm. Now that his domain realm Thunder Tribulation and Nirvana Tribulation arrived at the same time, it might have seemed inconceivable to others, but Ning Cheng did not feel surprised. A full circle domain would attract a Nirvana Tribulation. Ning Cheng's understanding of domains far exceeded that of ordinary cultivators. Therefore, it was not surprising for him to advance to the domain realm to the full circle. It was the same as what Jing Wuming had said about the heritage, he already had enough of it. Unfortunately, such a good thing would not happen a second time. From now on, he would have to honestly absorb the Starry Sky Essence Chi and climb up step by step like an ordinary cultivator. Ning Cheng wanted to wash himself, change into a new set of clothes, and then check to see what level his cultivation had reached. Most importantly, he wanted to turn his Maximal Flame spiritual technique into a real spirit technique. After advancing to the Celestial Novice Realm, Ning Qing felt that he now had the ability to cast ordinary spirit techniques. Just at this moment, a ray of light shot over. This ray of light did not pause for even half a second before it landed on the broken meteorite where Ning Qing was standing. Ning Qing quickly put on his clothes as fast as he could before looking at the person who had arrived on the broken meteorite. This was a very beautiful young woman. She was wearing a light cyan skin-tight dress, which perfectly outlined her figure. Coupled with a pair of watery eyes, people could not help but want to get close to her. However, these were not the things that Ning Qing cared about the most. What Ning Qing cared about the most was the pair of silver wings behind this young woman. That ray of light from a moment ago should have come from that pair of silver wings. It reminded Ning Qing of his twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Just as Ning Qing's gaze fell on the pair of silver wings, the wings behind this young woman suddenly disappeared. Senior. Ning Qing cupped his fists and greeted. This young woman's cultivation was higher than Lan Ya's. There were two faintly discernible celestial wheels behind her, indicating that she had a celestial gatherer cultivation. Thinking of the celestial wheels, Ning Qing realized that after advancing to the celestial novice realm, he did not have any celestial wheels. Was there a problem with his cultivation method, or was it because he had advanced too quickly? What a perfect body, the places that should be big are not small at all. It looks like you have a perfect body forging cultivation method. Not bad, not bad. Ning Qing felt a little embarrassed when he heard the young woman's words. This young woman had apparently seen him before he put on his clothes. But when this young woman spoke about a perfect body forging cultivation method, Ning Qing immediately turned vigilant. If I'm not mistaken, you should be called Ning Qing, right? The young woman's eyes wandered around Ning Cheng's body without any scruples. Teng Hongquang really must have been blind to actually regard you as an early-stage plundering life realm cultivator. If I hadn't been here, and the surrounding Nirvana tribulation aura had not dissipated, how could I have known that you had just crossed the Nirvana tribulation? Who is senior? Ning Qing raised his hand and grasped the Nirvana spear in his hand, while staring at this young woman with a wary gaze. He had never seen this woman before, yet this woman actually knew that he was Ning Qing. If this were the Yixing mainland, then it would have been a different story. After all, he was a well-known figure in the Yixing mainland. However, in this starry sky, he was not even a passerby. How could this woman know him? You used to hide in the Tir Immortal Cave, and our people had no way to drag you out. But now your luck is not good, and I, Ni Feng, met you while you were crossing the Nirvana tribulation. If you hand over the cultivation method, I will give you a chance to live, that is, become my slave. Otherwise. As Ni Feng spoke till here, she stared at Ning Qing with cold eyes, as if she was looking at a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. You are from the Ocean Gambling's premier casino. Ning Qing suddenly sobered up. The Teng Hongquang that this woman called Ni Feng spoke of must be the brown-haired male cultivator called Deacon Teng. I heard that you are very cunning, but I can see that your reaction is also very slow. I will give you 3 breaths of time. 1. Ni Feng spoke with some disdain. Dream on. Ning Qing clenched the Nirvana spear and stared at Ni Feng. He knew that if he wanted to escape from this woman, it would be impossible. Then let's see if I'm dreaming or not. Ni Feng raised her hand and shot out dozens of silver lights, just like a pair of silver wings. The moment Ning Qing saw Ni Feng move, he could no longer feel his own domain. The space that was originally under his control disappeared, and the dozens of silver lights suppressed his breathing. Although the silver lights looked simple, it made him feel a strong threat. Ning Qing stabbed out with the Nirvana spear in his hand, and the Nirvana spear once again brought back the lost space around him. The powerful spear intent transformed into one spear pattern after another. Bang bang bang. The silver lights bombarded Ning Cheng's spear pattern, causing Ning Cheng's spear pattern to instantly collapse. The powerful backlash force blasted Ning Qing away, causing him to hit the edge of the huge pit where he had crossed the tribulation. Hey, what a powerful spear intent. A mere ant who just advanced to the celestial novice realm can actually block my declivity gathering silver kill. I want to see how much you can block. After Ni Feng finished speaking, her hands waved as if they were passing through flowers, and a continuous stream of silver lights shot towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng felt the space around him squeezing once again. This kind of binding force made it impossible for him to move, allowing the opposite party's silver lights to bombard him. At this time, he could no longer use the Nirvana spear to block these silver lights. Ning Cheng immediately brought out the everlasting Blue Thunder City. However, unlike the previous shadow, the everlasting Blue Thunder City now had a solid shadow. The lightning arcs became even more visible, and the edges of the Thunder City even had blue stones that could be touched. Boom boom boom. The dense declivity gathering silver killing lights fell on the everlasting Blue Thunder City like a hail. However, these declivity gathering silver killing lights that had blasted Ning Cheng away, without exception, were all blocked by the everlasting Blue Thunder City. In addition to the rumbling sounds, a variety of crackling sounds mixed with some of the chaotic lightning arcs from the Thunder City continued to descend. Ning Cheng finally felt the benefits of having a powerful spiritual consciousness. If it were before, facing this kind of bombardment, his everlasting Blue Thunder City might have already collapsed. However, at this moment, he could barely hold on. As for fighting back, he could forget about it. Good stuff. Ni Feng's eyes lit up, and her hands shot out even more declivity gathering silver killing lights. Ning Cheng could only barely hold on to the everlasting Blue Thunder City's shadow, otherwise, the everlasting Blue Thunder City would dissipate. Once the Blue Thunder City dissipated, the horrifying declivity gathering silver killing lights would turn him into slag. The more Ning Cheng tried to block, the more shocked he became. The gap between him and this woman was just too big. If this woman did not stop, his spiritual consciousness would eventually be dragged down by the declivity gathering silver killing lights. Even his sea of consciousness might collapse. At this moment, he finally understood the huge gap between the Celestial Gatherer realm and the Celestial Novice realm. Ni Feng also felt shocked. She never thought that a puny Celestial Novice cultivator could persist for so long under her continuous declivity gathering silver killing lights. If this puny Celestial Novice cultivator advanced to the Celestial Gatherer realm, how could she still be his opponent? Chapter 492. In the face of the endless declivity gathering silver killing lights, Ning Cheng found it increasingly difficult to control the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort. Every second was a kind of torture, causing him to feel dizzy, as if he would lose control of himself the next moment. Catcha! A subtle sound rang out in Ning Cheng's mind, causing Ning Cheng's heart to sink. His sea of consciousness had truly begun to collapse. Ning Cheng had never heard of a sea of consciousness that could be repaired after it collapsed. In other words, once his sea of consciousness collapsed, he would turn into a cripple. Katka, a few more cracking sounds rang out, and Ning Cheng's feet trembled before he finally sat down on the ground. The consumption of his powerful spiritual consciousness finally caused his sea of consciousness to completely collapse. Puff puff. At the same time that the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort dissipated, several silver lights struck his body. Even if Ning Cheng possessed a rank 7 god body, he could not block these silver lights. A few wisps of blood mist sprayed out and spread far away. Ning Cheng's heart turned to ashes. At this time, the physical injuries were secondary. His sea of consciousness had collapsed, which made him feel despair. Ni Feng sneered, a puny celestial novice managed to block me for so long and consumed so much of my celestial essence. If I let you die like this, it would only be letting you off lightly. Ha, Ni Feng, who would let you off lightly? Why don't you let me take advantage of you? With another laugh, a black-robed cultivator landed on the broken meteorite. The black-robed cultivator only glanced at Ning Cheng before no longer paying attention to him. Instead, he stared at the beautiful young woman, Ni Feng. Ni Feng's expression turned ugly. If it weren't for Ning Cheng consuming so much true essence and spiritual consciousness, she would not have feared this black-robed male cultivator at all. Wei Wu, it's none of your business. Don't look for trouble. Ni Feng gave a cold snort. At this time, she no longer cared about Ning Cheng and focused all her attention on the black-robed male cultivator who had just arrived. I don't want anything else. As long as you give me that pair of silver star wings, I'll leave immediately. In your current state, you can never escape from my hands. The black-robed male cultivator spoke with confidence. He had been eyeing Ni Feng since a few days ago, but she had accidentally escaped. Now that he saw her again, and Ni Feng looked like she had consumed a lot of energy, it was a perfect opportunity. You're dreaming. Ni Feng said the words that Ning Cheng had spoken to her a moment ago. At this time, what Ning Cheng was most looking forward to in his heart was that these two people would start fighting. As long as these two people started fighting, they would not be able to take care of him, only then would he have a glimmer of hope to escape. Regardless of whether his sea of consciousness could recover or not, he was not willing to fall into the hands of others. These two people did not disappoint Ning Cheng. Just after exchanging a few words, they immediately started fighting. The moment the two of them started fighting, Ning Cheng took out Sifting Orchid with difficulty, and immediately ordered Sifting Orchid to rush out. If he delayed any longer, when his sea of consciousness completely collapsed, he might not even have the chance to take out Roland. Ni Feng really wanted to grab Ning Cheng, but she could not escape. As for that male cultivator called Wei Wu, he did not care about Ning Cheng at all, as he wholeheartedly wanted to kill Ni Feng. He believed that once he got rid of Ni Feng, he would then be able to hunt down Ning Cheng, who was in control of the 5-star battle disc. Even if Ning Cheng had to fly for a few hours first, he would not care about it. Sifting Orchid, find a hidden place to hide. If someone chases us, immediately find a way to enter the void collapse. My sea of consciousness is about to completely collapse, and I can no longer take care of you. After Ning Cheng spoke, he placed his ring on a table. Yes, master. Sifting Orchid's tone was still calm, as if it did not know that once it entered the void collapse, it would completely turn into ashes. Ning Cheng also felt a little sad in his heart. He also did not want Sifting Orchid to enter the void collapse. Although Sifting Orchid was only an intelligent battle disc, Ning Cheng still had a lot of feelings for this intelligent battle disc. After all, it had accompanied him for such a long time. After giving instructions to Sifting Orchid, Ning Cheng used the last of his energy to arrange a shielding array formation, before entering the mysterious yellow bead through the shielding array formation. Whether he lived or died, it was not something that he could control at all. Lanya had been waiting outside the immortal cave rented by Ning Cheng for a whole day. She had also sent out several messages, but she did not receive any response from Ning Cheng, which gave her a bad feeling. It had been less than 6 years since she left Ning Cheng. According to reason, Ning Cheng should have gone into seclusion in this place. She was about to leave the Lesser Thunder Star. However, before leaving, she had come back to give Ning Cheng some blue coins. Since Ning Cheng was not here, even if she could break into Ning Cheng's immortal cave, she could not do it in this place. Ning Cheng did not receive any news, which made Lanya feel worried. After all, Ning Cheng's cultivation was too weak in this place. A crucible transformation cultivator could easily be pinched to death in the ocean gambling city at any time. Lanya gave out a sigh. Since Ning Cheng was not here, staying in this place would just be a waste of time. When she left, she had told Ning Cheng not to leave the ocean gambling city, not to go to the casino or the arena. However, she did not know if Ning Cheng had listened to her or not. Who are you? What are you doing here? Lanya suddenly turned around and stared at a man with a celestial shatterer cultivation. Who are you? Why are you loitering outside Brother Xiaocheng's immortal cave? The man also stared at Lanya with a frown. Hearing this person address Ning Cheng as Brother Xiaocheng, Lanya looked at this male cultivator from top to bottom before speaking. My name is Lanya, Ning Cheng's friend. Now you can tell me why you are here. So you are senior apprentice sister Lanya. My name is Jing Wuming, Ning Cheng's best friend. I heard Ning Cheng talk about you. The male cultivator suddenly spoke up. As the two talked to each other, they realized that they were here to give Ning Cheng some blue coins. Lanya, like Jing Wuming, had also signed up for the Manluan Starry Skies tryouts. However, unlike Lanya, Jing Wuming had been here for a few months now, yet he did not receive any news from Ning Cheng. It looks like Brother Xiao Cheng has met with misfortune. If not for Brother Xiao Cheng, I'm afraid that I would have already fallen. Jing Wuming spoke with an ugly expression. When Lanya asked about it, she realized that Ning Cheng and Jing Wuming had not only gone to the casino, but had also offended the casino's people. With my current cultivation, I can't help Brother Xiao Cheng get back at him. However, I will definitely come back in the future. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, since you also passed the preliminaries, let's go to the Orchid Burrow Celestial River together. Jing Wuming suppressed the hatred in his heart. If he tried to help Ning Cheng take revenge with his current strength, it would simply be courting death. He had never thought that Ning Cheng would go looking for a fire attribute origin. Ning Cheng's cultivation was still too low. If he wanted to find a fire attribute origin, he would at least need to reach the celestial novice realm. Lanya nodded and gave out a sigh in her heart. She had a very good impression of Ning Cheng. Unfortunately, Ning Cheng's cultivation was not enough, and he did not know how to restrain himself, which eventually led to him paying the price. Ning Cheng opened his eyes, and found himself floating naked in the air, surrounded by a yellow misty scenery. I'm not dead, this was Ning Cheng's first thought. Where is this place? That's right, he had entered the mysterious yellow bead before escaping. This place should be inside the mysterious yellow bead. The thing holding him up should be the mysterious yellow origin aura. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness immediately swept out and found that he really was inside the mysterious yellow bead. Moreover, the mysterious yellow bead was located inside the sifting orchid battle disc. A burst of ecstasy welled up inside him, indicating that sifting orchid had found a hidden place. At least, no one could find him yet. Huh, that's not right, didn't his sea of consciousness collapse? How could his spiritual consciousness sweep out so easily? How could his sea of consciousness collapse? Ning Cheng immediately noticed his sea of consciousness. Before this, his sea of consciousness had been expanding along with his cultivation, and his spiritual consciousness had also grown stronger due to the increase in his cultivation. However, no matter how much it grew, the sea of consciousness still had a range, just like a slowly expanding house. It was not until the battle with the two women named Ni Feng that his sea of consciousness completely collapsed. However, at this moment, Ning Cheng was shocked to find that his sea of consciousness had completely changed. What kind of sea of consciousness was this? If he did not know that this was his sea of consciousness, he would have thought that it was a starry sky. It was boundless, from clear to vague, but there was no longer any boundary. It was as if his spiritual consciousness could expand endlessly. One day, his sea of consciousness would be able to merge with the vast starry sky, and the entire starry sky would become the scope of his spiritual consciousness. What was going on? Ning Cheng felt shocked in his heart. Soon, he once again checked his sea of consciousness. That's right, it was indeed a starry sky with distinct layers. How was this a sea of consciousness? It was a starry sky. No, it should be said that this was a sea of consciousness that had yet to form a starry sky. When his spiritual consciousness swept out, it felt like a substance, easily penetrating everything around him, something that had never happened before. At this moment, Ning Cheng could clearly see sifting orchid lying quietly in a crater on a broken meteorite, its surface covered with dust and all kinds of starry sky garbage. Ning Cheng felt touched in his heart. If not for sifting orchid, he, Ning Cheng, would not have existed in this world. Sifting orchid was just a lifeless 5-star battle disc, yet it had saved his life. Sifting orchid. Ning Cheng left the mysterious yellow bead and called out. At this moment, he had forgotten about his sea of consciousness. Sifting orchid turned silent, and no sound came out. Ning Cheng gently stroked some of the decorations inside sifting orchid, while a deep sadness welled up in his heart. Sifting orchid did not have any life, it was just an artificial intelligence. He did not know what happened before sifting orchid arrived here, but he knew that something must have happened. Otherwise, sifting orchid would not have lost its intelligence. Ning Cheng picked up the ring, cleaned himself, put on his clothes, and walked out of sifting orchid. In the crater of the meteorite, Sifting Orchid's exterior had been destroyed, and some of its internal components could be seen. Using the dust removal technique, Ning Qing carefully removed the dust on the surface of Sifting Orchid, before putting Sifting Orchid into his ring. He did not understand how to repair battle discs, but he secretly made up his mind that one day, he would ask someone to repair Sifting Orchid, and then keep it by his side forever. No, Ning Qing suddenly remembered that he had arranged a shielding array formation before. This array formation did not leave any back door for himself, so why could his spiritual consciousness still sweep out with such clarity, without even the slightest bit of hindrance? Thinking of this, Ning Qing quickly arranged another shielding array formation in the crater. Then he really froze. He did not use any means, but his spiritual consciousness easily penetrated through the spiritual consciousness shielding array formation and saw everything inside. What was going on? Ning Qing had just thought of this, when a roaring sound emerged from above, followed by a powerful sense of oppression. Ning Qing looked up at the endless starry sky in doubt. Was there still a thunder tribulation? He had already crossed the domain realm thunder tribulation and even the nirvana thunder tribulation, yet his cultivation was still at the early stages of the celestial novice realm. How could there still be a thunder tribulation? It was absolutely impossible. Ning Qing had not figured it out when several lightning arcs descended. It really was a thunder tribulation. Chapter 493. What shocked Ning Qing the most was that he could only observe the several thunder tribulations with his spiritual consciousness, and not with his eyes. What kind of thunder tribulations were these? Kacha kacha. Several lightning arcs bombarded Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness, causing his sea of consciousness to shake once again. No, it should be said that his sea of consciousness, which was like the starry sky of consciousness, shook again. This was the thunder tribulation that his sea of consciousness had to cross. Ning Cheng's heart suddenly flashed with such a thought, without any warning. Wave after wave of this thunder tribulation raged within Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. Bursts of stabbing pain transmitted through his body, causing Ning Cheng to tremble in fear. His sea of consciousness had only recovered after it had collapsed. He didn't even know how he had recovered because he had not woken up during the process of his sea of consciousness recovering. If his sea of consciousness, which had just been restored, were to collapse again under the terrifying lightning arcs, it would be too late for him to cry. Although his sea of consciousness was as stable as a starry sky, Ning Qing still brought out the everlasting blue thunder city. He was different from others. Others might not know what to do if their sea of consciousness was in a strange state. But he had a way. He had many treasures to help. In addition to the everlasting blue thunder city, there was also the celestial river flame. All of these could be summoned in his sea of consciousness. The roaring lightning arcs continued to descend into Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. However, with the help of the everlasting blue thunder city, these lightning arcs were easily blocked. Occasionally, some scattered lightning arcs would fall into his sea of consciousness, but they did not cause much of a ripple. Instead, they were all absorbed by his powerful sea of consciousness. After a few waves of lightning arcs, Ning Cheng became aware of the formidable aspect of his new sea of consciousness. Ning Cheng felt sure that his sea of consciousness and spiritual consciousness had already far surpassed what they were like when he had just advanced to the celestial novice realm. The thunder tribulation within his sea of consciousness finally dissipated. Because of the help from the everlasting blue thunder city, Ning Cheng's starry sky-like sea of consciousness turned even clearer. Ning Cheng directly left the everlasting blue thunder city within his sea of consciousness. With such a vast and boundless starry skies sea of consciousness, it gave people a kind of palpitation as if they had set foot on the peak of the starry skies. With a powerful sea of consciousness and powerful celestial essence, Ning Cheng was eager to find an opponent to test his strength against. Ning Cheng waved his hand, and everything around him suddenly came to a standstill. Space seemed to have stopped flowing and began to collapse. This was a false collapse, but there was a real feeling within the falseness. Boom! Endless terrifying flames swept up the surroundings, wanting to burn this part of the starry sky into ashes. Ning Cheng once again stretched out his hand, and an invisible essence chi giant hand grabbed the terrifying flame, rubbed it with both hands, and threw the flame away. Rumble. A muffled explosion erupted in the starry sky. With the location of the explosion as the center, ripples spread out. The flame that Ning Cheng threw out directly blew up a meteorite in the starry sky into nothingness, and a vague black hole appeared. It took a while for it to return to its original state. What a powerful maximal flame spiritual technique, Ning Cheng thought as he calmed down. If he hadn't thrown out the maximal flame just now, the meteorite under his feet would have turned into nothingness. Ning Cheng was a grateful person. The meteorite under his feet was the place where Sifting Orchid lived, and also the place where he lived. He would not destroy it. With a loud roar, Ning Cheng rushed out of the meteorite. A faintly discernible shadow streaked across the starry sky. While wielding the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, Ning Cheng could not help but sigh at the benefits of having a powerful spiritual consciousness. If it were before, he would not have been able to travel this fast with the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Ning Cheng guessed that it had been at least 2 years since he left the ocean gambling city. During these 2 years, he had been in an unconscious slumber. Moreover, the changes in his sea of consciousness most likely had something to do with the mysterious yellow bead. The mysterious yellow origin had helped his sea of consciousness complete the nirvanic restructuring process over the past 2 years. This kind of thinking was only a kind of vague comprehension. Although he knew that his sea of consciousness was no longer the same as before, and his cultivation had also grown a lot stronger than before, Ning Cheng did not lose his rationality. He knew that he still had a long way to go before reaching the level of a celestial gatherer powerhouse. Even now, if he met An Feng again, he would only end up in a dead end. Unless An Feng did not have that pair of silver wings, only then would he have a chance to escape. Because of this, Ning Cheng did not return to the ocean gambling city. He went to the place that Jing Wuming had given him, which was the location of the fire origin bead. The location that Jing Wuming gave him was very clear. It was an uninhabited planet within the starry skies. It was huge and moved slowly through the starry skies. The surface temperature of this planet reached hundreds of degrees. Standing on the surface of this dark red planet, Ning Cheng couldn't help but admire Jing Wuming in his heart. To think that Jing Wuming could find the fire origin on this planet. This was also the reason why Ning Cheng was in a hurry to come here. He feared that in a few more years, this planet would completely disappear into the void, and he would never be able to find the fire origin bead again. According to Jing Wuming, he had found the fire origin by accident. Initially, he had been chased to this planet, and with no way to escape, he ended up entering the collapsed space of this planet. According to the general understanding, if a planet had collapsed space, as long as one entered it, one would fall into the endless void. However, Jing Wuming told Ning Cheng that this collapsed space was fake. After entering, one would be sucked away by a terrifying suction force, making people think that it was a prelude to the collapse of the void. At this time, an ordinary cultivator would be able to escape. However, at this time, one should not panic and let the terrifying suction force suck one in. One would then appear in a cavern filled with flames, and the temperature in this cavern was extremely high. If one could persist until the end of the first section, one would be able to feel the fire origin. Ning Cheng knew that Jing Wuming was telling the truth, because at this moment, he was standing in the middle of a cavern filled with flames. There was nothing else here except for the endless flames. Ning Cheng did not know how Jing Wuming managed to escape, but if a cultivator entered this place and could not come out, then nothing would remain of them in the end. Under such terrifying flames, it would be a strange thing if anything remained. The flames around the cavern tumbled, and Ning Cheng walked through the narrow passage filled with flames. He had a feeling in his heart that this passage would explode at any time. Then the entire planet's volcano would erupt, swallowing him until not even his bones remained. Just like before the destruction of the Sifting Orchid star, there were violent volcanoes and violent sandstorms everywhere. However, the current Ning Cheng was no longer a small cultivator, but a celestial novice cultivator. Even so, Ning Cheng still felt extremely hot. What made Ning Cheng feel excited was that he could indeed feel a trace of fire origin. At this time, Ning Qing couldn't help but lament the difficulty Jing Wuming had in obtaining the fire origin. Ning Qing did not know if Jing Wuming had advanced to the celestial novice realm at that time. If he had only reached the domain realm, then the trace of fire origin he obtained would have been exchanged for Shi Yulan's life. Ning Cheng's thoughts moved, and the celestial river flame immediately appeared over Ning Cheng's head. The celestial river flame then turned into an oval shield that covered Ning Cheng's entire body. The celestial river flame was his own, as such, Ning Cheng could not feel any heat. If he removed the celestial river flame shield, Ning Cheng would feel a little uncomfortable. With the celestial river flame shield, Ning Cheng sped up his pace. In just a dozen breaths, Ning Cheng arrived at the end of the cavern. At the end of the cavern, Ning Cheng found some fire origin crystals attached to the wall. Ning Cheng guessed that Jing Wuming could only reach this point. The fire origin Jing Wuming had taken away must have been these origin crystals. At the end of the cave was an incomparably huge magma lake. The flames in the lake were tumbling non-stop, like boiling oil, emitting gurgling fire bubbles. A fiery red bead suspended on the opposite side of the tumbling magma lake, exuding a rich fire origin from this bead. No wonder Wuming said that there was a fire origin bead in this place. It turned out that he had seen it with his own eyes. However, there was a huge magma lake in this place. Moreover, the temperature inside this magma lake definitely could not be compared to the ordinary magma lakes on Earth. If he wanted to obtain the fire origin bead, he would have to cross this magma lake. Ning Cheng's gaze swept around as he tried to think of a way to cross this magma lake. If he used the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, in case the magma lake sucked him in halfway, even the celestial river flame would not be able to save his life. Ning Cheng initially wanted to see if there was a way to bypass the lake, however, his eyes fell on a human-shaped flame in amazement. This was not a flame, it was clearly a person. Moreover, this person even had an aura. A puny celestial novice cultivator dares to come here and covet the fire origin bead. This flaming person actually took the initiative to speak. Chapter 494. This is a fire spirit. Something was not right. Ning Cheng paid a lot of attention to things related to origins, but he had never heard of an origin that could give birth to spiritual wisdom. More importantly, this red flaming person had the aura of a cultivator. It was not a pure spiritual object. It's none of your business. Ning Cheng spoke out in a contemptuous tone, while carefully observing the magma lake. This flaming man moved along the edge of the magma lake. Obviously, there was no way for him to fly across the magma lake. However, even though he was at the edge, he was still trapped by the flames. He didn't know how long he had been stuck here. Ning Cheng was sure that this fellow could not leave this place, otherwise he would not have allowed the flames to burn him. The flame roared out in anger, but it had no way to deal with Ning Cheng, which made Ning Cheng feel even more assured in his heart. You have a wood-attributed main spiritual root. Good, 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 you really want to come to this place, it really is dry wood on fire. As Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness passed through this flaming person's body, he could see that the flames covering the surface of this person's body were all made up of burning wood-attributed true essence. A fellow with the wood attribute actually dared to come here to obtain the fire spirit pearl. He really didn't know how to write the word death. Oh, Ning Cheng suddenly remembered that he could use his spiritual consciousness. If he could use his divine sense, didn't that mean he could fly over? Regardless of whether there was a no-fly restriction here or whether the magma lake had a suction force, this flaming man should have been able to escape. Why did he stay there and let the flames burn him? Ning Cheng once again tried to use his spiritual consciousness to communicate with the fire origin bead suspended on the opposite side of the magma lake. He was shocked to find that his spiritual consciousness easily wrapped around the fire origin bead. What was going on? No matter what happened, after Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness wrapped around the fire origin bead, he immediately pulled it towards him. The fire origin bead swayed a little before returning to its original position. Ning Cheng guessed that it should be because the strength of his spiritual consciousness was not strong enough, or that he had not yet mastered how to use his powerful spiritual consciousness. For him, as long as he could use his spiritual sense, he would definitely have a way to cross to the other side. You can actually use your spiritual sense here? The fireman exclaimed in shock. Hearing these words, Ning Qing immediately understood that this flaming person's cultivation might be higher than him, which meant that the other party's spiritual consciousness really could not be used. Understanding this, Ning Qing immediately felt refreshed in his heart. The starry sky's sea of consciousness truly was different. Haven't seen the world. Anyone can use their divine sense in the place where I come from. What's so great about that? I guess you must have come from some corner of a low-level interface. Talking to you would only bring down my status. Ning Qing once again spoke with contempt. Ning Qing did not intentionally despise this flaming person, although this flaming person looked like he was wrapped in flames, but who knew if he could suddenly make a move? Moreover, this fellow's cultivation level was higher than his, and his words made him angry. This way, if he wanted to make a move, there would be traces to follow. Ah! Contrary to Ning Cheng's expectations, the burning man did not feel angry. Instead, he looked at Ning Cheng in shock and could not speak a single word for a long time. He thought to himself, is my cultivation method really that bad? Any random person could display their divine sense here. A celestial novice cultivator could freely use their spiritual consciousness. Although he was already in the celestial bridge realm, he still ended up trapped in this place. Excuse me, this brother, which interface do you come from? Can I go there? The burning man finally managed to come up with such a sentence after a long time. Bumpkin, I'll tell you, I come from the Milky Way galaxy. Whether you can go there or not depends on whether you have the opportunity or not. Ning Qing casually spoke, while simultaneously stimulating the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Where is the Milky Way galaxy? The twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Where the hell did this cultivator come from? The burning man murmured as he watched Ning Qing fly over the magma lake. To Ning Cheng's relief, his spiritual consciousness was strong enough. Although the magma lake had a powerful suction force, it could not suck him into the lake. Standing in front of the fire origin bead, Ning Qing could feel a terrifying heat radiating from it. Ning Qing could even feel the celestial river protecting his body trembling slightly. Apparently, the celestial river felt some fear towards this fire origin bead. When Ning Qing raised his hand to grab the fire origin bead, a violent flame erupted from it. Ning Qing felt shocked. He had obtained the water origin bead before, but it looked very soft. How could this fire origin bead be so terrifying? Once caught in this kind of flame, how could one survive? Ning Qing immediately linked up with the mysterious yellow bead. He wanted to enter the mysterious yellow bead to escape. Don't look at his rank 7 god body, in the face of this kind of flame, it was not enough. What made Ning Qing even more surprised was that when he linked up with the mysterious yellow bead, the mysterious yellow origin aura and the fire origin bead's aura merged together. When the originally violent flame came into contact with the mysterious yellow origin bead, it immediately converged its violent aura and turned gentle. Ning Qing did not even need to grab it, as the origin bead automatically fell into Ning Cheng's palm. It was an incomparably round bead with countless dense flame patterns. Ning Cheng's spiritual sense moved, and the fire origin bead immediately fell into his mysterious yellow bead. The mysterious yellow bead, which originally had some moisture in it, immediately turned lively, as if it had gained a fiery life force, while the fire origin bead disappeared without a trace. Sure enough, just as elder brother Tsang Wei had said, his mysterious yellow bead needed to gather all 5 kinds of origin beads to form a primal chaos world. However, the 5 kinds of origin beads were scattered throughout the vast and boundless universe. Where would he even begin to look for them? Being able to encounter the water origin bead and the fire origin bead was already a stroke of luck, so how could he encounter the other beads? Even if he had an endless lifespan, it would still be extremely difficult. Even if he had an endless lifespan, how could it compare to the endless vastness of the universe? Did you take the fire origin bead? The flames on the flaming person's body visibly dimmed, and gradually revealed his original appearance. Ning Qing felt surprised in his heart. did he save this flaming person by taking the fire origin bead? If this flaming person did not have any malicious intent, then he would have saved him. This person had originally come here for the fire origin bead, so how could he not covet his own fire origin bead? Yes, I took the fire origin bead, and even fused it with my body. Let me tell you, it is equivalent to me saving your life. If you still dare to talk nonsense, I will immediately take out the fire origin bead. Ning Qing threatened. No, no, good things belong to the virtuous, I can only be happy, happy. The flaming person quickly waved his hands and spoke. At this time, the flames on his body had completely dissipated, revealing an old cultivator with a bark-like appearance. Ning Qing was just about to leave when the celestial river flame protecting him suddenly sent out an excited signal. You want the fire origin crystals here? In that case, you can go by yourself. Ning Qing immediately understood. Previously, the celestial river flame had been suppressed by the fire origin bead. Although it wanted the fire origin crystals in this place, it did not dare to touch it. If not for its master wanting it to come out to protect it, it would not have dared to come out. Now that Ning Qing had taken away the fire origin bead, the celestial river flame immediately turned restless. Hearing Ning Qing's order, a blue flame instantly spread out, and the fire origin crystals in the cave rapidly decreased. Oh, leave some for me. The bark-like flaming person on seeing Ning Qing take away the fire origin bead immediately started to crazily snatch the fire origin crystals in this place. He quickly escaped from the edge of the magma lake and began to peel the fire origin crystals. Seeing this, Ning Qing also peeled a dozen fire origin crystals from the edge of the rock wall. At this time, the celestial river flame had completely changed color, from blue to purple. Even if Ning Qing did not know much about flames, he knew that his flame had reached a peak state. The bark-like flaming person's harvest was not small. He looked at Ning Qing putting away the celestial river flame with envy and asked carefully, "Excuse me, friend, is the Milky Way galaxy far away?" When Ning Qing heard the other party's words, he immediately understood that this fellow wanted to go to the Milky Way galaxy. He smiled and spoke, "I advise you not to go to the Milky Way galaxy. Unless you become a starry sky emperor, you will not be able to go there. Goodbye." Ning Qing knew that this bark-like flaming person had a much higher cultivation compared to him. Moreover, the other party was currently in a very weak state. Who knew if he would attack him after he recovered? Therefore, it was better to be cautious when dealing with such an expert. The bark-like flaming person did not care about Ning Qing leaving and continued to mutter to himself, "Milky Way galaxy, where the hell is this place? There are so many good things, and even his spiritual consciousness is so powerful." Ning Qing rushed out of the uninhabited planet and stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Although he did not want to return to the ocean gambling city, he still had to return to the lesser Thunder Star. At the very least, he had to go to the Thunder Connection City and say hello to Jing Wuming. If he could find Lanya in the Thunder Connection City, it would be for the best. Ning Cheng's powerful spiritual consciousness allowed him to move through the starry skies like a shadow. Not only was his speed extremely fast, but he also did not feel tired at all. After flying for half a month, Ning Qing finally found that the lesser Thunder Star was not far from him. At this moment, a vague threat suddenly welled up in his heart. Ning Qing did not have the time to check what the threat was when a huge hand stretched out, seemingly wanting to grab him. Ning Qing did not have time to think about it. He immediately brought out his Nirvana spear and shot out a powerful spear intent trace. Bang! Ning Cheng's spear completely shattered the huge palm, while Ning Cheng was also sent flying by the backlash. Hey! A celestial novice cultivator who has not even condensed a celestial will actually has such a powerful spear intent, amazing. A soft voice passed through Ning Cheng's ears, causing Ning Cheng to discover that two people were playing chess. He almost rubbed his eyes. That's right, it really was two people playing chess in the starry skies. One of them was dressed like a middle-aged scholar, while the other was a disheveled bearded man with a broken bowl hanging from his waist. Coupled with the dirty appearance of this disheveled bearded man, he almost looked like a beggar. A huge chessboard controlled by an array formation lay in front of the two people. The chessboard was filled with chess pieces refined from meteorites. Brother Nan, it's your turn. You couldn't catch a meteorite, and even failed to catch a celestial novice kid. Ha, just admit defeat. The middle-aged scholar spoke. Ning Qing understood at this moment that these two fellows should have been playing chess in this place. As for the chess pieces, they were refined from meteorites that they could catch in the starry skies. The beggar called Brother Nan, because he could not find a meteorite, could not play chess. Therefore, he decided to grab Ning Cheng. From the looks of it, he wanted to use Ning Cheng as a chess piece. A loss is a loss. It's not a big deal. The beggar lifted the chessboard in front of him and spoke, "What bad luck. I lost a bet with those old fellows. I did not expect that my luck in chess would be so bad. However, kid, come over here. I can see that your spear technique is quite good. Tell me about the origin of that spear of yours." Chapter 495. This person was definitely a powerhouse. Ning Qing found that he could not see the other party's cultivation, but he could vaguely see 5 or 6 celestial wheels. This junior likes to look for opportunities in the starry skies. This spear technique was taught to me by a senior that this junior doesn't know. At that time, that senior had only demonstrated it for a bit, and this junior has only managed to comprehend a bit of it. Ning Qing quickly replied, inadvertently associating himself with that powerful senior. "Oh, then show me how the senior demonstrated it." The beggar nodded and said. Ning Qing had no other choice but to raise his nirvana spear and shoot out in a spatial arc. The powerful spear intent created a vague shadow in the space in front of him. Bang! A meteorite flew over, but before it could even approach Ning Cheng's nirvana spear, Ning Cheng's powerful spear intent directly smashed it into pieces. The beggar clapped his hands and shouted, "Good, good spear technique, good spear intent." The middle-aged scholar also stood up and praised, "Your spear intent is good, but your spiritual sense is even more formidable. You definitely have a bright future ahead of you." Ning Cheng was shocked in his heart. He had casually shot out a spear, yet the opposite party was able to see that his spiritual sense was incomparably powerful. This was simply too amazing. "Boy, I can see that you have some potential. Why don't this king accept you as a disciple? What do you think?" The beggar looked at Ning Cheng with a smile. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up in fear, replying to Senior, "The senior who taught me the spear technique said that once I understood the essence of this spear, I could go to the striking order starry skies to find him. Without that senior's instructions, this junior does not dare to acknowledge him as his master. This fellow called himself this king, so maybe he was a celestial river king." As a disciple of a celestial river king, Ning Cheng had nothing better to do. If he didn't have anything, he might have considered it. He had too many secrets. If he followed this celestial river king, who knew if there would be a tomorrow? "I see." The beggar showed a hint of disappointment. However, he did not ask about the identity of the person who told Ning Cheng to go to the striking order starry skies. Then this junior will take his leave. Ning Cheng really did not want to stay in this place for even a moment longer. He was even prepared to immediately use the twin wings of the heavenly clouds to escape once these two powerhouses started. Whether he could escape or not was another matter. He was not willing to be caught by such a powerhouse. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng couldn't help but sigh in his heart. There were just too many powerhouses in the starry sky. He had heard that the Orchid Burrow Celestial River was a trash celestial river, yet so many starry skies powerhouses had come here. If he went to a more powerful starry sky and met a powerhouse who was in a bad mood, he would definitely come. The beggar hesitated for a moment before saying, "It is fate that brought us together. I don't have anything to give you, but I can give you this video card. I hope it can help you once, ha ha ha." Ning Cheng quickly received it in a respectful manner and held it in his hands until the two powerhouses were far away. After the two of them left, Ning Cheng took out a separate storage ring and put the image card into the storage ring. He then repeatedly placed a dozen restrictions on the storage ring, only then did he feel relieved. This image for the same, its star could communicate with his mind. Think. The same. At a crucial moment, he could take out the image card to fight the enemy. This Ning of, he could also, he thought. Cheng to use, this. This kind of token was usually given by the elders to the younger generation as a life-saving talisman. For this beggar to casually give it to a stranger like Ning Cheng, it was relatively rare. It was a life-saving talisman left by the elders to the younger generation. It was rare for this beggar to give it to a stranger like Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not dare to put the image for the miniature world because he could not understand the beggar's thoughts. However, Ning Cheng did not throw away the image. No matter what the beggar meant by the image, Ning Cheng wanted to make use of it. Ning Cheng initially did not plan to return to the ocean gambling city. But with this image, he decided to go back to the ocean gambling city. Returning to the ocean gambling city, Ning Cheng did not change his appearance. Without the beggar's image, even if he wanted to return to the ocean gambling city, he would have to change his appearance. That beggar was at least a celestial river king. With such a character's image, Ning Cheng did not need to worry about anything. What Ning Cheng did not expect was that he was able to easily return to his own immortal cave, as no one stopped him at all. After returning, Ning Cheng found out that Jing Wuming and Lanya had come to visit him. He also found out that he had left the ocean gambling city for more than 2 years after his sea of consciousness underwent nirvana. For Jing Wuming and Lanya to return, Ning Cheng felt very grateful. For these two people to return to the ocean gambling city, there was no other reason other than him. In any case, in this strange place, he still had a few friends. Ocean Gambling's premier casino, this was Ning Cheng's second time coming here. He was about to leave the ocean gambling city, as for whether he could come back in the future, he did not know. Now that he had the confidence, he naturally wanted to get back what he wanted before leaving. Kid, you dare to come back? This grandpa will kill you with a punch, get the hell out of here. Ning Cheng was greeted by the brown-haired male cultivator's disgusting rough face. As he spoke, he immediately sent a kick towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not even speak. He slightly leaned to the side and punched the huge bronze drum outside the casino. Dong, a muffled sound instantly resounded throughout the entire casino. You're courting death. Deacon Ting punched towards Ning Cheng's face. In his opinion, Ning Cheng was just a puny plundering life realm cultivator, and he could smash him into pieces with a single punch. This time, Ning Cheng did not try to dodge. Instead, he stretched out his hand and grabbed the deacon's fist. Circulating his celestial essence, he directly tore off the deacon's arm. A flame flashed in his palm, and the arm disappeared without a trace. Ah! In a hurry, the brown-haired deacon screamed out. Not waiting for him to recover, Ning Cheng slapped him once again. Slap, Deacon Ting directly flew up. Half of his face and a mouthful of teeth turned into nothingness by Ning Cheng's slap. Silence reigned inside and outside the casino, as everyone stared at Ning Cheng in shock. The Ocean Gambling's premier casino was not a small force in the Ocean Gambling City, yet this plundering life realm cultivator dared to pick a fight with it. Even if this plundering life realm cultivator concealed his cultivation and reached the celestial gatherer realm, it would not be enough to pick a fight here. Ning Cheng had indeed concealed his cultivation. The last time he came here, he was in the plundering life realm. Now that he came here with the cultivation of the celestial novice realm, it definitely did not make sense. Coupled with the fact that he did not have a celestial wheel, it made concealing his cultivation very simple. Many celestial scryer cultivators, even if they concealed their cultivation, could not hide their celestial wheels. Friend, are you relying on your high cultivation to come to my Ocean Gambling's casino to make a scene? A gloomy voice descended, and a thin, long-faced cultivator appeared in front of Ning Cheng. Owner, please uphold justice for me. This person is too arrogant to even attack me. Deacon Tang, who climbed up from the ground, covered his bloodied face with his only hand and cried out in a tearful voice. This thin, long-faced cultivator was the deputy owner of the Ocean Gambling's premier casino. He ignored Deacon Tang and continued to stare at Ning Cheng with a cold gaze. He did not regard Ning Cheng as a plundering life realm cultivator. Not to mention that Ning Cheng had concealed his cultivation. How could a cultivator who dared to make a scene at the Ocean Gambling's premier casino be simple? Make a scene. Ning Cheng spoke in a calm voice. Did you see me smash anything? I'm a guest here, but does the Ocean Gambling's premier casino bully its guests? Does it bully its guests at will? After saying that, Ning Cheng raised his hand and threw out a crystal ball. While throwing out the crystal ball, Ning Cheng even suspected that he had the potential to become a photographer. Wherever he went, he developed a good habit of recording with a crystal ball. The brown-haired male cultivator in the crystal ball spoke with an arrogant tone and expression. Kid, you dare to come here? This uncle will kill you with a punch, scram for me. Then he sent out a kick. Does the Ocean Gambling's premier casino always treat its guests like this? Ning Cheng asked casually. Take him away and apologize to this guest. A cold voice came from upstairs. Ning Cheng felt surprised when he heard it. He did not even hear the specific location of the voice. Yes. The gloomy long-faced cultivator replied respectfully. He then raised his hand, and two celestial novice cultivators came over and dragged Deacon Teng away. After Deacon Teng was dragged away, the long-faced deputy owner politely cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and spoke with a smile. I am the deputy owner of this casino, Yen Fan. On behalf of the casino, I would like to apologize to this friend. Friend, what do you want to bet? Please help yourself. Forget about the apology. It's not the first time I've been bullied here. As for what to bet, I'll go and see for myself. Ning Cheng spoke while ignoring Yen Fan and walked into the casino. He came here today to smash this place. As such, an apology from a deputy owner was not something he would put in his eyes. Seeing that Ning Cheng's matter had come to an end, everyone went about their own business. Although many of the cultivators no longer paid attention to it, they still admired Ning Cheng in their hearts. How could the casino let such a thing go? Moreover, they would never let this matter rest in secret. They also did not know where this cultivator hiding his cultivation came from, yet he did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. Exchange for 4 chips worth 10 million black coins. Ning Cheng took out 40 million black coins and walked to the counter where the chips were exchanged. He only had 40 million black coins on him. These were the black coins that Jing Wuming did not lose last time, which he once again took out. Ning Cheng did not go to the gambling house this time. With his black coins, no one would be willing to gamble with him. This time, Ning Cheng came to the gambling house. The gambling house was also the most common type of gambling here. By relying on one's eyesight and hearing, as long as one bet correctly, one could obtain a compensation of 1 to 10. Of course, there was also a gambling house with adjacent points. That is, if one guessed the closest number, one could also obtain 5 times the compensation. The lowest number of points in the casino was none, while the highest was 555 points. Just like other places, one could not use their spiritual consciousness, nor could they use their true essence. One could only rely on one's eyes and ears to hear. Ning Cheng walked into the gambling house and immediately found a spot for him. Everyone had seen Ning Cheng's arrogance at the entrance of the casino. If there was no special reason, no one would be willing to offend such a person. Chapter 496. The gambling point could be either the banker of the casino or the banker of an outsider. If an outsider was the banker, the casino would have to take a cut, which would be based on the ratio of the betting money on the table. The gambling point Ning Cheng came to was the banker of the casino. Since he wanted to smash this place, he naturally would not go to an ordinary gambling table. What's more, he had carefully tested this place and found that this place could not block his spiritual consciousness. This made Ning Cheng feel even more confident that his sea of consciousness was not something ordinary cultivators could compare to. This casino definitely had a high-level spiritual consciousness shielding array formation, but it still could not block his spiritual consciousness. The banker was a middle-aged man with a slightly pale face. He glanced at Ning Cheng but did not care about it. He had seen cultivators like Ning Cheng who dared to cause trouble in a casino before. However, those people would only cause trouble for a short while before disappearing without a trace after leaving the casino. There were 3 dice on the table, each with 6 sides and a number on each side, from 0 to 5. The banker covered the 3 dice with a transparent barrel and shook it. The cultivators who gambled could clearly see the dice shaking rapidly inside the transparent barrel. Although the barrel was transparent, it also isolated spiritual consciousness. Even without a spiritual consciousness shielding array formation, one could not penetrate the barrel. Unfortunately, in the face of Ning Cheng's powerful starry sky sea of consciousness, this barrel could not isolate his spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng gave out a sigh. He felt sure that without spiritual consciousness, no matter how powerful one's eyesight was, one would not be able to clearly see how the dice inside the transparent barrel moved. There was no true essence or spiritual consciousness in this place, it was just like an ordinary person. However, this transparent barrel made many people willing to gamble. With a "pa" sound, the dealer who was shaking the dice pressed his hand, and the transparent barrel fell on the table, right next to the yellow gambling line on the gambling table. When the transparent barrel fell on the table, it turned silver in color, and one could no longer see the situation inside the barrel. One could only hear the constant beating of the dice inside the barrel. Many people quietly listened to the beating sound of the dice. When the dice stopped beating, the banker shouted, "Place your bets." At this moment, the green light on the table lit up, indicating that it was time to place the bets. Some of the cultivators, who thought that they had already understood what was going on, started to place their bets. Ning Cheng found that the lowest bet here was at least 1,000,000 black coins. A few of the cultivators even put down tens of millions of black coins, however, none of the cultivators put down hundreds of millions of black coins. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell into the silver barrel, the 3 dice inside were respectively 0, 3, and 2. According to the rules of the casino, the number closest to the yellow line was the first number, and so on. If 2 numbers are side by side, the larger number comes first. In the silver bucket, the number closest to the gambling line was 2, the second was 0, and the third was 3. In other words, the total number of points this time was 203. Ning Cheng noticed that out of all the cultivators who placed their bets, one of them had placed a bet of 10 million black coins on 200 points. It could be said that if not for Ning Cheng, then this time it would have been his bet, because the number he bet was the closest to 203 points. Ning Cheng did not hesitate and put all his 40 million black coins on 203 points. The cultivator who had placed his bet on 200 points glanced at Ning Cheng, and seemed to hesitate for a moment, however, he did not move his bet. The dealer on seeing Ning Cheng place a bet of 40 million black coins also swept a glance at Ning Cheng. In this casino, 40 million black coins was not a lot, but it was also not a small amount. Although a few people also paid attention to Ning Cheng, they did not care about it. After a while, the cultivators who placed their bets stopped, and the total number of black coins on the table was at least 300 million. Ning Cheng couldn't help but think in his heart, no wonder the casino made so much money. If he did not participate, then even if the casino paid 100 million black coins to the cultivator who placed the bet of 10 million black coins, the casino would still have made a profit of 200 million. What's more, Ning Cheng knew that if it was not an accurate number, it would not be 10 times the compensation, but 5 times the compensation. The dealer did not open the cup for gambling points. Once everyone placed their bets, the green light in the middle of the table would turn red. As long as the red light lit up, it meant that no one was allowed to change the numbers or place a bet. After the red light flashed, the silver bucket would automatically float up. 203 points, it really is 203 points. After the silver bucket floated up, all the people looked at Ning Cheng in shock. It was Ning Cheng's first bet, yet he had already hit the jackpot. This was definitely not just luck. This time, even if Ning Cheng did not want to attract attention, it would be impossible. All the gazes swept over Ning Cheng. Winning 400 million black coins in one go, how could this be explained by luck? The pale-skinned dealer could not help but break out in a cold sweat. It was not because he had lost nearly 100 million black coins in this round. 100 million black coins, for him and the casino, was simply not much. Not to mention losing 100 million black coins, even losing 100 billion black coins was not a big deal for the casino. He was sweating profusely because he knew that Ning Qing definitely did not win because of luck. How could one win because of luck? Regardless of whether he was afraid or not, the dealer still had to shake the dice. This time, he was obviously more cautious compared to the first time. Not to mention that the time it took to shake the dice was much longer than the last time, even the frequency of shaking was much faster than the last time. After the middle-aged dealer placed the cup bucket upside down on the table, he even used a hidden force to shake it. Place your bets. The dealer called out loudly, but his eyes were still staring at Ning Qing. Ning Qing could clearly hear the trembling in his voice. This time, the people placing their bets were not as fast as the last time. Many people were also looking at Ning Qing. Apparently, the dealer was not the only one who knew that Ning Qing did not win because of luck. Ning Qing did not care about it at all and directly bet all of his 400 million black coins on 501 points. The dealer's hand visibly trembled. If he won this time, he would have to pay 4 billion black coins. 4 billion black coins did not mean much to him, but what if Ning Qing won the next time he bet another 4 billion? The key problem was that he was not facing Ning Qing alone. The other cultivators on seeing Ning Qing bet on 501 points immediately followed suit, most of them placing their bets on 501 points. The dealer calculated that 501 points would cost him nearly 700 million black coins. If he won this time, he would have to pay 7 billion black coins as compensation. After everyone placed their bets, the red light lit up, and the silver bucket automatically floated up again. The total number of the 3 dice was exactly 501 points. Hit, exactly 501 points. Heavens, such great luck. This time, there were many people who placed their bets. After opening the dice and confirming that it was indeed 501 points, some of the cultivators who placed their bets immediately shouted out in excitement. This kind of excitement immediately attracted the rest of the cultivators who placed their bets. In just a few moments, a bunch of people had gathered. Even if the dealer was a celestial shatterer cultivator, he could not help but wipe off the cold sweat on his forehead. 7 billion black coins as compensation, what would happen next? Hurry up and shake the dice. The crowd on seeing the dealer in a daze called out in dissatisfaction. Where would they find such an opportunity to make a fortune? Even if the casino wanted to look for trouble, it would not find the heads of these people who followed the crowd. Instead, it would look for the idiot who was in the limelight. How could Ning Qing not see the intentions of these cultivators? He originally wanted to smash this place. As for how much the casino lost, it had nothing to do with him. What made him unhappy was that these people were using him in an open and above-board manner. The dealer no longer wanted to shake the dice, but facing the clamor of the crowd, he could only continue to shake it. Buy. Fixed. Hand. After putting down the bucket for the 3rd time, the dealer's voice trembled, and anyone could hear it. This time, all the people stared at Ning Qing, while the dealer quietly pressed the button. He knew that this scene was no longer under his control. Ning Qing spoke up with a calm voice, I don't have enough gambling capital. Friends who just won, can you lend me some? No one answered Ning Qing's words, and even looked at Ning Qing as if he was an idiot. Borrow money? Who knew you? Seeing no one answer, Ning Qing gave out a sigh and spoke, I'll bet 324 points. After that, I'll put all my 4 billion black coins on 324 points. This time, more people placed their bets. In just a few breaths, nearly 10 billion black coins had gathered on 324 points. Those with capital turned out to be even more greedy than Ning Qing. Although they were reluctant to lend money to Ning Qing, they followed Ning Qing's lead and placed their bets quickly. Ning Qing sneered. When the green light was about to turn red, he suddenly shifted the 4 billion chips and spoke, forget it. Since so many people have placed their bets on 324 points, then I'll bet on 325 points. Everyone felt stunned. What did this mean? Before the people around could figure it out, the red light lit up. At this time, even if one had the courage, no one dared to change the points. The people around started to feel uneasy. Ning Cheng had placed his bets twice before, but this time, he suddenly changed the points. Who knew if his previous bet of 324 points was correct or not? The silver bucket floated up, and it was exactly 325 points. Oh. Almost. The dealer wiped the sweat from his forehead. Although he had lost 40 billion black coins to Ning Cheng, he still felt a little lucky in his heart. If not for Ning Cheng's dirty tricks, he would have lost 100 billion black coins. 100 billion black coins was not a lot of money for the casino, but he could not afford it. At this moment, he held the transparent bucket and no longer dared to continue to roll the dice. In case Ning Cheng placed another 40 billion black coins, he would truly be finished. He had to wait for the person in charge to come over. Ning Cheng did not rush him. He did not want to deal with this dealer. The people around him who had placed their bets immediately looked at Ning Cheng with unfriendly gazes. Ning Cheng had just caused them to lose a lot of money. Aren't you going too far? You even changed the points at the last minute. A late-stage celestial novice cultivator stared at Ning Cheng with cold eyes. He felt very unhappy in his heart. Just a moment ago, he had lost 1 billion black coins, which made him extremely angry. It's none of your business if I change the points. If you don't want to gamble, then fuck off. Ning Cheng cursed out in a very rude manner. When he had borrowed money, this fellow had not even spoken a fart. Now that this fellow wanted to bet with him, he even wanted to talk nonsense. Ning Cheng had come here to play the villain and smash up the place. If he had to be polite to a celestial novice cultivator, then why would he even bother smashing up the place? As long as he turned timid in front of this celestial novice cultivator, the other people behind him would definitely swarm up. At that time, he would not even need the casino to come forward, as his momentum would immediately weaken. You're looking for death. This celestial novice cultivator had long since regarded Ning Cheng as a fool. How could he tolerate a fool scolding him? However, he did not need to curse out a second time. Ning Cheng had already grabbed his neck and directly lifted him up. Chapter 497. Friend, please spare my life. The celestial novice cultivator suddenly remembered the casino's rules of not fighting, which did not apply to this fellow in front of him. This fellow even dared to beat up Deacon Teng, so why would he fear him? Fighting is not allowed in the casino. The dealer finally found a reason, put down the cup in his hand and walked up. Originally, this was not something he should have cared about, however, he did not want to shake the dice right now, nor did he want to look for trouble. Ning Cheng raised his hand and threw the celestial novice cultivator to the ground before shouting, "Fuck off." This celestial novice cultivator simply did not care about Ning Cheng breaking a few of his bones. He quickly got up and fled in disgrace. The dealer, on seeing that the victim did not want to look for Ning Cheng, had no choice but to return to his original position. After such a scene, the other cultivators who suffered losses did not dare to say anything, and no one came out to speak against Ning Cheng. You can go down. A slightly hoarse voice arrived, and the dealer felt like he had heard the voice of an immortal and quickly replied, "Yes, Talisman Master." Ning Cheng noticed that the cultivator who had just arrived looked very ordinary, with slender eyes and a hoarse voice. However, his tone was calm. There were also 2 vague celestial wheels behind him, indicating that this person was at least a celestial shatterer powerhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to gamble with this friend alone, I hope you can understand. After the cultivator asked the original dealer to leave, he then cupped his fists towards the rest of the cultivators who wanted to gamble. This slender-eyed cultivator obviously had a lot of prestige in the casino. After he cupped his fists and spoke, the rest of the cultivators who wanted to make a fortune behind Ning Cheng retreated, but did not disperse. Since these cultivators retreated, it meant that they would not gamble. As for why they did not disperse, everyone knew that Ning Qing came here looking for trouble. However, now that the casino's people came out to fight with Ning Qing, no one wanted to miss such a wonderful event. In just a short time, the gambling point was completely surrounded by people. Not only the cultivators who gambled here, but even the cultivators who gambled in other places also squeezed into this place. Many people recognized the slender-eyed man, an absolute expert in the casino. Under normal circumstances, he would not come out. But now that he came out, it meant that it was for Ning Qing. My name is Fu, a small attendant of this casino. I still haven't asked for this friend's name. The slender eyes did not care about the onlookers, and once again took the initiative to cup his fists towards Ning Qing. So this fellow was called Fu. Ning Qing cupped his fists and spoke, "My name is Ning Qing, because my friend lost some money here in the past, and almost lost his life. So today, I want to help him win back the money he lost. I hope Fu can give me some pointers." After listening to Ning Qing's words, the people around him suddenly understood. Ning Qing really came here today to look for his face. The reason was that his friend had lost some money, and had almost lost his life. However, looking at this Ning Qing's cultivation, it should not be too high. Even if the casino managed to find a place for him, would he be able to walk away? For a guy with this kind of cultivation to come to the casino to seek revenge, it should be said that he was courting death. I see. In that case, let's begin. I will roll the dice, and Brother Ning will place the bet. What do you think? Fu gave a faint smile, and did not put Ning Qing's words in his eyes. From this, it could be seen that he was confident that he would not lose to Ning Qing. No matter how much money Ning Qing's friend had lost in this place, for Ning Qing to dare come here to seek revenge, it showed that he did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. Ning Qing naturally did not care about it. Of course, wait until I exchange these black coins for blue coins. Ning Qing did not need to take the initiative to exchange them, as someone had already helped him exchange 40 billion black coins for 400 million blue coins. At the same time that Fu grabbed the cup barrel, the smiling expression on his face and his attention towards the surroundings completely disappeared. At this moment, all of his energy was focused on the cup barrel in his hands. With a wave of his hand, the transparent cup barrel immediately picked up the 3 dice and began to shake them. The surrounding people could not help but stare at Fu's movements. No, it should be said that at this moment, where was the movement? Not even a shadow could be seen. Not to mention that the people here could not use their true essence or spiritual consciousness. Even if they used their spiritual consciousness or true essence, they would not be able to clearly see the shadow of Fu's hand. If one had to say that there was a sound, then it would be the breathing of the surrounding cultivators. The sound of the dice completely disappeared at this moment, and could not be heard at all. There was no shadow, no sound. Whether this cup was transparent or not, it no longer made any sense. Pa, the cup used to shake the dice fell onto the gambling table. This pa was the only sound that came out from the beginning of Fu's dice shaking till the end. This sound immediately awakened the surrounding cultivators, causing everyone to look at each other in dismay. Only then did they realize that there was always a mountain higher than the mountain. If this kind of person shook the dice, then they would not be able to gamble. The surroundings were covered with spiritual consciousness shielding array formations. Moreover, the silver cup barrel itself was made of materials that could block out spiritual consciousness. As such, before the barrel was opened, no one knew the number of points in the cup barrel. All the people stared at Ning Qing, wanting to know what Ning Qing would bet on this time, and how much he would bet. Elder Brother Ning, please. Fu showed a polite smile towards Ning Qing. The expression of forgetting everything around him disappeared, and he once again returned to being an ordinary cultivator. Ning Qing took out 400 million blue coins and bet it all on 0, while his spiritual consciousness lingered around the silver bucket. As soon as Fu fell onto the silver bucket, Ning Qing understood that this Fu could also use his spiritual consciousness to see what was inside the bucket. If not for his spiritual consciousness being too advanced and powerful, Fu would have been able to discover that his spiritual consciousness was inside the bucket. Because his spiritual consciousness was much stronger compared to Fu, it allowed him to detect Fu's spiritual consciousness. However, Fu did not know about his spiritual consciousness. The number on the dice was 142, but Ning Qing knew that it would be useless for him to bet on 142. Since the other party could see the number, then he would never let him win. As such, he simply bet on 0. Fu's eyes revealed a trace of surprise, as if he was surprised that Ning Qing did not place his bet on 142, but this trace of surprise quickly disappeared, as he spoke in a light voice. Did Brother Ning confirm the point that he placed his bet on? Yes, I confirmed it. Ning Qing spoke up as if nothing had happened. Good, regardless of whether you win or lose, I admire Elder Brother Ning for being such an expert. After Fu spoke a sentence of appreciation, the green light on the gambling table turned red. At this moment, Fu's spiritual consciousness was still focused on the 3 dice. Although he admired Ning Qing, he would never be careless. The silver bucket floated up, and Fu seemed to feel that the things that his spiritual consciousness had swept through had turned fuzzy for a moment. He immediately gave a start, and his spiritual consciousness once again forcibly fell on the 3 dice. The silver bucket had already been opened, and the 3 dice all had zeros on them. The number displayed was exactly 0. Ah! So powerful. It really is 0. This time, 4 billion blue coins. All kinds of discussions resounded. These cultivators had not only said that Ning Qing was powerful, but some of them also thought that Fu was equally powerful. Fu had definitely shaken out 0 on purpose, otherwise, how could a 0 suddenly appear? It was just too much of a coincidence. However, Ning Qing was even more powerful. Fu had shaken out a 0. Everyone could tell that this kind of strength definitely belonged to the top figures in the casino. Fu's face turned slightly pale. He took a deep breath, cupped his fists towards Ning Qing and spoke, "Friend, your gambling skills are quite powerful. This Fu is not your opponent." He knew that even if he continued to gamble, it would still be in vain. Even with his spiritual consciousness, he could see that someone had tampered with the dice in front of him. Even if he continued to gamble, the result would still be the same. Then why don't your casino find someone else to gamble with me? I came here to win money. If you don't let me gamble, where would I get the money? Ning Qing shook the chips in his hands and spoke with a very disdainful tone. Saying that, Ning Qing no longer paid any attention to Fu. Instead, he cupped his fists towards the crowd of casino cultivators and spoke, "Friends, I do not want to say that there is anything wrong with the Ocean Gambling's premier casino. But the fact is that if you win money here, they will not gamble. If no one saw it, then the casino would confuse black and white, and then use all sorts of threats. Ning Qing, your gambling skills are indeed better than mine. However, if you want to frame and blacken our casino, then you are not qualified." As Fu spoke, several powerful auras quickly rushed over. Ning Qing did not care about it at all. He directly threw out the crystal ball that he had previously recorded and spoke, "Whether it is a false accusation or not, it is not up to me to decide. Everyone here can see it." The crystal ball floated up and projected a huge clear image onto a white wall. Ning Qing did not use his spiritual consciousness and directly projected the image onto the wall. Otherwise, he could have projected the image directly into the air. During the gambling, Jing Wuming's perfect array formation was falsely accused. Instead, Jing Wuming was accused of cheating. Moreover, the casino's deacon's threatening tone and demeanor towards Ning Qing could be clearly seen. Moreover, Deacon Teng's aura could also be clearly felt from the crystal ball, which meant that it was definitely not a fake. Jing Wuming was a frequent visitor to the casino and knew many of the people here. All the people immediately understood and turned their attention to the cultivator surnamed Fu. If this matter was not handled properly, then it would be tantamount to destroying this casino in the future. Now that Ning Cheng's purpose for coming here was clear at a glance, regardless of whether Ning Cheng would still be alive or not, since he came here, then it meant that he definitely had a plan. For a cultivator with a sense of self, it was really difficult for them to swallow this matter. No wonder Ning Cheng wanted to smash this place. As soon as the crystal ball came out, although no one spoke, everyone vaguely stood on Ning Cheng's side. Ha! A burst of laughter arrived, followed by several cultivators coming down from the second floor. This matter is indeed the fault of my casino. Teng Hongquang has already been stripped of his freedom and demoted to a slave. As for Steward and Ifeng, she has gone out for a few years and has yet to return. Once she appears, we will definitely capture her and hand her over to Brother Ning. Regarding the previous matter, this Chiu would like to apologize to Brother Ning because of my casino's poor use of manpower. The one who spoke was a middle-aged man in a yellow robe walking at the front with a short beard. Although he was apologizing, his tone was incomparably natural, giving people a sense of unrestrained detachment. It also meant that he admitted that he was in the wrong and had nothing to do with the casino. As for the losses, my casino is willing to compensate Brother Ning with 1 billion blue coins. I wonder what does Brother Ning think about it? Xiao Hongfang walked up to Ning Cheng and continued speaking with a sincere and natural tone. He had already inquired about Xiao Hongfang and knew that he was the owner of this casino. Ning Cheng still had his spiritual consciousness, so he could sense a faint killing intent from Xiao Hongfang's natural and sincere tone. Chapter 498. Many thanks. Ning Cheng accepted the billion blue coins without any trace of politeness. Xiao Hongfang showed a faint smile. I just heard Brother Ning say that there is no place to gamble in our casino. Since Brother Ning is also an expert in gambling arrays, why don't I accompany Brother Ning for a few rounds? Ning Cheng did not care about it and spoke up. It would be great to have the field master accompany us in gambling. However, it would be too boring for just 2 people to gamble. Why don't we add in Brother Fu and Deputy Field Master Yan Fan? The 4 of us can just gamble on a table. Ha! Xiao Hongfang laughed after hearing Ning Cheng's words. Brother Ning really does have some spirit. If I said no, then it would make me look like a nobody. Well, let's do it this way, the 4 of us can gamble. The surroundings immediately burst into a sensation. With the field master and the deputy field master going up, along with an expert talisman from the casino, this gamble would definitely be a wonderful one. This Ning Cheng was just too anxious to die. He even dared to challenge the 3 people from the casino alone. Moreover, these 3 people were probably the 3 most powerful people in the casino. Ning Cheng still did not care about it and spoke up. Naturally, I have to have some spirit. Field Master does not have to worry about me saying that the 3 of you join forces. Because this is what I asked for, I don't care about anything else. What I care about is whether I can win a lot of money today. Xiao Hongfang's face twitched on hearing these words. Was this fellow a real idiot or just pretending to be an idiot? Whether Ning Cheng was a real idiot or just pretending to be an idiot, the largest area of the gambling hall on the first floor had already been pulled out. At this moment, almost all the cultivators had gathered here to watch the fight. Even the most gamblers could not help but hold back and come to watch the fight. This kind of wonderful thing, no one wanted to miss it. Ning Cheng, Xiao Hongfang, Yan Fan and Fu sat down, while the 108 array flags were neatly arranged in the middle of the table. Around them were countless spectators quietly staring at the table. At this time, cheating was absolutely not an option. The gambling array formation was the array formation compatibility. Array formation compatibility was divided into perfect, major contract, minor contract and rough array. If you used a rough array formation and others did not complete the array formation, then they would have to pay you a 1-to-1 compensation. If you have a small contract formation and others did not complete the formation, you would have to pay 3-to-1. If you have a rough formation, you would have to pay 2-to-1. If it was a large contract formation, others who didn't complete the formation would pay you 8-1, those who completed a rough formation would pay you 7-1, and those who completed a small contract formation would pay you 4-1. If you had a perfect formation, regardless of whether others had set up a matching flag formation or not, the compensation would be 120 to you, without exception. Previously, when Jing Wuming completed a perfect array formation, he ended up being falsely accused of cheating. Chiu Hongfang pushed out a chip worth 100 million blue coins and spoke, "Since it's the first time, I'll give you 100 million. Seeing Chiu Hongfang's first bet of 100 million blue coins, Yan Fan and Fu also put out 100 million blue coins. The people watching from the sidelines were even more excited. This was the first time, just for show, and they had already received 100 million blue coins. If it wasn't for show, then what would happen? It was certain that a large number of blue coins would be pushed up towards the end of this round of gambling. There would definitely be a good show to watch today. Ning Cheng showed a smile and pushed out all the chips worth 5 billion blue coins. "I like to put it all in at once. Unfortunately, I only have 5 billion blue coins. Let's take it all out in one go." This time, the surroundings did not become excited, but turned silent. The Ocean Gambling's premier casino never gambled small, however, no one had ever gambled as big as Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng put down 5 billion. If Ning Cheng lost, then he would have to double the 5 billion plus the winner's 100 million bet, for a total of 1 billion. As for how many times the compensation, it would depend on what kind of array the winner managed to fuse. If Ning Cheng won, then the other party would have to add their own bet plus 5 billion to Ning Cheng. Brother Ning really is a hero. Chiu Hongfang cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng with appreciation, before reaching out his hand, indicating Ning Cheng to start first. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell on the 108 cards. He was very clear about the sequence of the 108 cards and the number of spirit lines. If he took the first card, then the last card in Chiu Hongfang's hand would be a small matching array. The other party did not need to exchange any cards at all and could open up a small matching array. Ning Cheng would definitely lose. Since attaining the Starry Skies Sea of Consciousness and crossing the Sea of Consciousness Nirvana Tribulation, Ning Cheng's ability to use and hide his spiritual consciousness was not something an ordinary cultivator could compare to. Even if Chiu Hongfang's cultivation was many times higher than Ning Cheng's, he could not probe Ning Cheng's Starry Skies Sea of Consciousness. Since Chiu Hongfang knew that the card in his hand was a small matching array, it meant that he at least knew what his deck of cards looked like. From this, Ning Cheng inferred that Chiu Hongfang could also use his spiritual consciousness in this place. Or perhaps he had a way to know the contents of the cards. If the other party could form a small matching array with the cards in his hand, then it would mean that he could easily win. How could Ning Cheng let this happen? Ning Cheng smiled and said, "Well, many thanks for Arena Master Chiu's generosity. But just in case, we won't be grabbing 2 cards this time, but 1 card each." What does Arena Master Chiu think? Although Chiu Hongfang felt angry, he still showed a smile on the surface and spoke up as if nothing had happened. "That's natural. Since I suggested that Brother Ning should grab the cards first, then Brother Ning should be the one to suggest how to grab them." He did not believe that he would lose to an outsider like Ning Cheng if he did not obtain a small matching array first. Each person quickly obtained 12 cards, and Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already checked the cards in the hands of the 4 people. After each person grabbed a card, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness found that the cards in the hands of the 4 people were the best. Chiu Hongfang's cards turned out to be the worst, while Yan Fan's cards were about the same grade as his. Ning Cheng did not fear this. As long as the cards in his hand did not form a small matching array, he did not have to worry about it. In case the other party won the moment they got their cards, he would not even have the chance to resist. Ning Cheng's cards were not very good, but he did not care about it. He only needed 3 cards to form a perfect small matching array, the illusory fire array. If it was an ordinary person, not to mention missing 3 cards, even if they were missing 1 card, they would not have any hope. Otherwise, it would be too easy to form a perfect small matching array. However, Ning Cheng did not care about it. He had already checked the 3 cards that he was missing. Except for 1 card in Yan Fan's hand, he could change the spirit lines of the other 2 cards at any time. As for the card in Yan Fan's hand, he could not change the spirit lines of his own card because the position of the tablet was different. With his current ability, he could not change the position of the tablet. Ning Cheng did not immediately change it. He knew that Qiu Hongfang could definitely use his spiritual consciousness to check his cards. Even if he wanted to change it, he would have to wait until he formed a small matching array. This array formation was just waiting for Yan Fan to use the 17-line flood position card. That flood position card was useful to Yan Fan, because Yan Fan only needed to change 2 more cards to form a small matching array. However, this did not pose a problem for Ning Cheng. He threw out a 6-line flood position card. If this card ended up in Yan Fan's hands, then as long as he discarded the 17-line flood position card, he would be able to complete a large matching array. Only a fool would not be willing to exchange it. 6-line flood position card. Ning Cheng changed the spirit lines of the flood position card and threw it out. Ha, many thanks Brother Ning. I just happened to be missing a 6-line flood position card. Sure enough, as Ning Cheng expected, he had just thrown out the 6-line flood position card, when Yan Fan laughed and took the card for himself. The reason why he did not want to form a large matching array before was that there were very few 6-line flood position cards. Moreover, even if there were such cards, it would still be very important to others. Very few people would play a 6-line flood position card on the table, but he did not expect that Ning Cheng would be able to play it. Since Ning Cheng had played it, how could he miss it? Even the people around him looked at Ning Cheng with some regret. How could he play a 6-line flood position card in a gambling array? Even if Yan Fan did not want it, Qiu Hongfang and Fu would definitely want it. Qiu Hongfang frowned. He also felt that this matter was a bit strange. What was going on with Ning Cheng? 17-line flood position card. After Yan Fan put away the 6-line flood position card, he did not hesitate to throw out the 17-line flood position card. Qiu Hongfang shook his head, no. Fu also shook his head, no. Ning Cheng hesitated for a moment, before placing the 17-line flood position card in front of him. At this time, all the people were staring at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had played the 6-line flood position card, but he actually wanted the 17-line flood position card. It was just too strange. Since you don't want it, then I will take it. I want to see if I can form a large matching array with these cards. Ning Cheng hesitated as he calculated with his fingers. Yan Fan sneered and spoke, Brother Ning, the casino is filled with real swords and real spears. If you cannot form a large matching array, then with the time you wasted, it can be said that you did not form a large matching array. If it is a large matching array, then you will have to compensate the other 3 people for their losses. Ning Cheng seemed to have a sudden jolt. Oh, if it is a large matching array, then I will have to compensate for the losses. Pa! Ning Cheng scattered the 13 array cards on the gambling table. At this moment, all the eyes were staring at Ning Cheng's large matching array card. Ah! A sharp scream came out. Immediately, someone called out, large matching array formation. No, it is a perfect large matching array formation. It really is a perfect illusory fire large matching array formation. With 13 array cards placed on the table, there were even clusters of flames flickering within them. This was definitely a perfect illusory fire large matching array formation. Qiu Hongfang's face turned pale. This was impossible, absolutely impossible. His spiritual consciousness had been constantly focused on Ning Cheng's cards. Ning Cheng needed at least 3 cards to form a perfect illusory fire large matching array. Even if he obtained Yan Fan's 17-line flood position card, he was still missing 2 cards. How could he complete it all at once? Heavens, how much would he have to pay? Some people exclaimed in surprise and began to help Ning Cheng calculate how many blue coins he could win with this card. Ning Cheng put down 5 billion blue coins, while the other 3 people put down 100 million blue coins each. Adding it up, each of them would have to pay Ning Cheng 102 billion blue coins. This was a horrifying number. Even the Ocean Gambling City's premier casino would not be able to afford such a number. Chapter 499. Ning Cheng's heart sank slightly. This was his fastest speed. Even after flying for an entire day, he still couldn't get rid of this stalker. From this, one could tell that this fellow was extremely difficult to deal with. Ning Cheng, because of the shock, didn't think too much about it. In fact, if Qiu Hongfang wanted to resist, Bright South Celestial River King's shadow couldn't even pick him up. Qiu Hongfang didn't dare to resist. Even if he could escape from this shadow, if he angered Bright South Celestial River King, he would only die. He wouldn't even be able to survive in this starry sky. After Ning Cheng left the ocean gambling city, he desperately wielded the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. He didn't believe that with the support of his powerful spiritual consciousness and the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, no one in the ocean gambling's premier casino could catch up to him. Yan Fan spoke up in a gloomy voice. More than 3 billion green coins were taken away. Are we just going to let it go? He spat out a few mouthfuls of spittle. Unfortunately, the beggar was just an image and couldn't spit out anything. The people around him immediately burst into an uproar. If the casino couldn't catch a cheater, then it wouldn't be called a cheater. Yan Fan openly said that Ning Cheng cheated. Did the ocean gambling's premier casino want to renege on its debt like Ning Cheng said? After saying that, Ning Cheng sped up and walked out of the casino. He had already seen the 2 blue coin cards, one with 5 billion and the other with 1 billion. Ning Cheng sped up and rushed out of the ocean gambling city. He had already achieved his goal of using up the beggar's image card and then scamming the ocean gambling's premier casino. As for going to Bright South Celestial River, he wouldn't go unless he lost his mind. At this time, the most important thing for him was to escape as far away as possible. Brother Ning, don't worry. My name is Ruan Zhua, and I come from Thunder City. Just now, the people from the ocean gambling casino also caught up. I wanted to help you deal with them, but they were too slow. I didn't even need to deal with them before they could catch up. The middle-aged cultivator spoke with cupped fists towards Ning Cheng with a smile. After flying for half a day, although the spiritual consciousness tracking them had pulled away a bit, they still couldn't get rid of it. Now that King Shang Mao's celestial river just patted his butt and left, Jing Wuming's matter fermented to the point that it almost caused the ocean gambling's premier casino to disappear. How could Qiu Hongfang swallow this? The blue color on Qiu Hongfang's face gradually faded, and he spoke with a deep voice. I just received the news that the image card of Bright South Celestial River disappeared. Now we just have to keep an eye on this fellow. As for Bright South Celestial River King picking a fight with us, we can leave this matter to Celestial River King Shang Mao. Since this matter started because of Celestial River King Shang Mao, we certainly have to tell him about it. After the beggar's image finished this sentence, it quickly disappeared without a trace. It's no wonder that Brother Ning misunderstood. It's like this, I've been in the ocean gambling's premier casino for quite some time. Brother Ning's cultivation does not seem to be any worse than a celestial gatherer cultivator. I have a matter that I want to ask Brother Ning for help with, I don't know. Ning Cheng also cupped his fists and spoke, many thanks to Elder Brother Wan. I and Elder Brother Wan are strangers to each other, so why did you chase after me? An hour later, the frequency at which Ning Cheng wielded the twin wings of the heavenly clouds not only did not slow down, but instead became even faster. He felt that someone was chasing him. Moreover, it wasn't just one person. There were 2 faintly discernible auras following him. Ha! Ning Cheng suddenly laughed before taking out an image card and throwing it into the air. He then clapped his hands and spoke, Elder brother, someone said that I cheated, but can't say anything about it. It looks like he wants to be shameless and falsely accuse me of my money. The beggar stretched out his hand and directly grabbed Qiu Hongfang's neck before twisting it. Kid, this king hates people who cheat the most. This father has lost so many things, yet I did not renege on my debt. Yet you, a puny celestial bridge cultivator, dare to renege on your debt? Believe it or not, this king will crush you to death, ba ba ba. Everyone, since I said that, then there must be some truth to it. Please let me talk about this person's method of cheating. Yan Fan cupped his fists towards the crowd and spoke in a sonorous voice as if he was the embodiment of justice. This was the first time Ning Cheng saw a green coin card. According to Chiu Hongfang's words, 1 green coin was equivalent to 100 blue coins. In order not to make himself look too ignorant, Ning Qing casually glanced at the few cards before nodding and speaking, "I've already collected my money. Goodbye." Treacherous kid, this king doesn't care about such a small amount of money. Consider yourself lucky. Since this king helped you today, remember to come to Bright South Celestial River to see this king in the future. Otherwise, this king wouldn't be so easy to use. Chiu Hongfang felt sure that Ning Qing cheated. Unfortunately, he couldn't catch it, nor did he have any evidence. He couldn't say that his spiritual consciousness had locked onto Ning Cheng's card. Moreover, so many people had seen it. If he said that, it would be the same as slapping his own face. Ning Qing felt a little anxious in his heart. At this moment, a vague spiritual consciousness sound transmission fell into his ear. "Brother Ning, I don't have any malicious intentions towards you. I'm not from the Ocean Gambling Denver. I just came to you to ask for your help. If I lie, I will die from the thunder tribulation. I don't dare. I'll pay the bill right away." Chiu Hongfang didn't dare to argue at this moment. Not to mention that his life was in the hands of Bright South Celestial River King. Even if Bright South Celestial River King's shadow was not here, he would not dare to show even half a shred of resistance. A beggar with a broken bowl hanging from his waist suddenly stood on the gambling table. Chiu Hongfang saw the person in front of him and suddenly stuttered, Bright South Celestial River King." At this time, all the people in the casino respectfully saluted Bright South Celestial River King, which shocked Ning Cheng. He had guessed that a Celestial River King would be enough to make Chiu Hongfang feel afraid. However, he never expected Chiu Hongfang to feel so nervous and scared. Was he using a sledgehammer to crack a nut? If a Celestial River King wanted to crush his premier casino, it would be as simple as crushing an egg. This person didn't even need to do it himself. As long as he said a word, a large number of people would rush over to kill him. Several powerful auras gathered, and the surrounding cultivators understood that the casino wanted to use force. They didn't have any evidence, so they wanted to capture Ning Cheng and force him to speak. Since the opening of the Ocean Gambling's premier casino, it rarely closed. However, at this time, the casino had closed its doors. As for when it would reopen again, no one knew. If it weren't for me hating people who can't afford to lose, I would never help this kid. The beggar felt very upset. He had taken out an image card and placed it next to Ning Cheng, which showed that he truly did not have any good intentions. Unexpectedly, before he could even take action, Ning Cheng had already used up the image card. This was simply a wastrel. Chiu Hongfang did not speak. Although some people in the casino knew that something was wrong, they did not dare to say anything. Some people even suspected that Ning Cheng had cheated, otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be so powerful. Without waiting for Wan Zhuo to finish, Ning Cheng interrupted him, "Brother Wan, since you came from the Ocean Gambling's premier casino, you should know that I don't lack money right now. I have a lot of things to do, so I don't have the energy to help you. More than 300 billion blue coins, even the Ocean Gambling's premier casino would not be able to afford it." If Ning Cheng had not formed his starry sky sea of consciousness, he would not have been able to capture these two spiritual consciousness auras. But now that his starry sky sea of consciousness had formed, although the two spiritual consciousness auras were powerful, he could still sense them. Moreover, Bright South Celestial River King could easily pinch Chiu Hongfang with just a shadow. This kind of cultivation was just too terrifying. As Bright South Celestial River King's shadow grew fainter and fainter, he finally caught up with Ning Cheng and spoke with a cold snort, "Kid, you sure have guts. You even dared to use this king to win money. But he has Bright South Celestial River King's image card." Fu spoke up carefully. The middle-aged scholar beside him laughed, "I knew it." Chiu Hongfang glanced at the pale-faced Yan Fan. Yan Fan immediately stood up and spoke with a cold snort, "Ning Cheng, you actually cheated in my Ocean Gambling's premier casino. You truly have guts." Inside the casino, Qiu Hongfang sat on a chair with a livid expression. After flying crazily for an entire day, one of the divine sense auras disappeared without a trace, but the other divine sense aura was still following him. Forget it. Relying on Bright South Celestial River King's image card, he wants to take away 3 billion green coins from my casino? He can dream on. Wait until he leaves the ocean gambling city, then we can make our move. Don't worry about how far he can escape. Our people are keeping an eye on him. Qiu Hongfang sneered. Senior, this junior plans to split the money with senior equally. Senior, however much you like, you can take it. It would be this junior's honor to take the lead for senior. Ning Qing quickly spoke up with a respectful tone. Don't look at Qiu Hongfang speaking like a grandson in front of the beggar. Once he left the beggar's side, this person would want to kill him at any time. Everyone understood Qiu Hongfang's meaning. Jing Wuming's wife, Shi Yulan, had left with Shang Mao Celestial River King. The Ocean Gambling's premier casino wanted to deal with Jing Wuming because of a few words from Shang Mao Celestial River King. To turn Jing Wuming into a slave in broad daylight, without anyone noticing anything wrong with it. Brother Ning, here are 3 billion green coin cards, plus 2 blue coin cards. Qiu Hongfang respectfully put 5 cards in Ning Cheng's hands. The newcomer was a middle-aged cultivator with a kind face, looking just like a gentleman. Ning Cheng could see 3 celestial wheels behind him, indicating that this person was at least a celestial gatherer cultivator. Ning Cheng paid special attention to this person. This person controlled a very small battleship, however, the battleship's speed was too fast, which prevented him from escaping. Ning Cheng refused without hesitation. Helping a cultivator he didn't even know, unless he had nothing better to do. What's more, this Ruanzhua definitely had someone behind him. In a place hundreds of millions of miles away, a dirty beggar gave an angry snort. Stinky brat, you dare to use this king's image card to show off. Chapter 500. Brother Ning, do not be in a hurry to refuse, this is not just a matter of money. To be honest, Brother Ning's billions of green coins would not amount to much in the striking order Starry Skies. If he were to enter the universe, this amount of star coins would not even be worth mentioning. Besides, for Starry Sky cultivators, money alone was not enough. With Brother Ning's help, not only would you be able to easily pass through the 3 realms of Celestial Scryer, you could even advance to the Celestial Bridge realm in the shortest possible time. Ruanzhua spoke out in an unhurried manner. As he spoke, he also observed Ning Cheng's expression. The most uncomfortable thing for Ning Cheng right now was that his cultivation speed had once again slowed down. Ever since he advanced to the Celestial Novice realm and started absorbing the Starry Sky's essence chi for cultivation, he no longer had the speed of someone in the plundering life realm. Ning Cheng also didn't feel like looking for a place to go into seclusion. He didn't have much time to go into seclusion. Now that he heard Ruanzhua say that he could advance to the Celestial Bridge realm in the shortest possible time, he immediately felt excited. Of course, it was good to have money in this place, but money couldn't buy everything. And according to Ruanzhua, his money was nothing at all. Elder brother Ruan, please enlighten me. Ning Cheng asked with an indifferent attitude. Brother Ning should have heard about the striking order Starry Skies Celestial Scryer Genius tryouts, right? Ruanzhua smiled and said. Ning Cheng nodded, I know this. Oh, then why did Brother Ning not sign up for it? With Brother Ning's ability, you could at least enter the Orchid Burrow Celestial River. Even if you were selected by the striking order Starry Skies, it would not be impossible. Ruanzhua asked with some doubts. Ning Cheng spoke up in a calm voice, I feel that my cultivation is not enough. Now that I have won a bit of money, I am looking for a place to go into secluded cultivation. Ha, Brother Ning's way of thinking is absurd. If your cultivation is not high enough, then what better reward is there than the striking order Starry Skies tryouts? Ruanzhua quickly waved his hand and spoke. Please enlighten me. Ning Cheng truly did not know about the rewards for the tryouts. Moreover, Jing Wuming also did not know about it. As for Lanya, she had never mentioned it to him. Most likely, she felt that his cultivation was too low. Ruanzhua cautiously spoke up, Brother Ning, with your ability, if you participate in this competition, you would most likely be able to rush into the striking order Starry Skies. As long as one could be selected to participate in the striking order Starry Skies, even the rewards from the Orchid Burrow Celestial River would be quite amazing. What's more, do you know where the striking order Starry Skies selections will be held? Ning Qing smiled and spoke, perhaps this kind of reward is very amazing, but I know my own situation. The striking order Starry Skies has many powerhouses, it is absolutely impossible to be selected by the striking order Starry Skies. Ruanzhua spoke up disapprovingly, Brother Ning, this kind of thinking is not something a powerhouse should have. Besides, you don't necessarily need to be selected by the striking order Starry Skies. As long as you can participate in the striking order Starry Skies selection, it would be enough. Let me tell you directly, the striking order Starry Skies selections will take place in the Time Wilderness. This was the premier mystic realm of the striking order Starry Skies and also the most mysterious place in the entire striking order Starry Skies. The Time Wilderness contained countless treasures, as long as one could enter it, it would be considered a blessing. When you come out, you might not have been chosen. However, you would have already obtained a lot of things that you wanted. One could even say that many of the geniuses who participated in the selections did not expect to be selected by the striking order Starry Skies and rush into the universe to participate in the higher level selections. All they want is to enter the Time Wilderness. Although Ning Qing very much wanted to go to the Time Wilderness, he knew that Ruanzhua would not be so kind. As such, he still spoke up in a calm voice, Brother Ruan, my cultivation is not good enough. In a place filled with geniuses, even if I participated, I'm afraid that I would not be able to enter the Time Wilderness. Also, Brother Ruan and I have never met before. Why are you helping me? Ruanzhua spoke up with a straight face, Brother Ning, I helped you by inviting you to participate in the striking order Starry Skies Celestial Scryer Genius Selection. This would not do any harm to Brother Ning, rather it would be beneficial to both of us. Seeing Ning Qing seriously listening to him, Ruanzhua felt even more sure that Ning Qing really wanted to participate in the tryouts. Therefore, he calmed down and continued, Brother Ning's cultivation might really be at the Celestial Novice Realm, or it might even be higher than that. However, what I saw in the casino is that Brother Ning's spiritual consciousness is definitely top-notch, even surpassing ordinary celestial gatherer cultivators. When Ning Qing heard Ruanzhua's words, he knew that he was not the only one who had guessed it. It was just that no one had any evidence and could only speculate. Ruanzhua continued, Brother Ning not only has a powerful spiritual consciousness, but he is also quite young. There was a place in the Time Wilderness, which contained something that every cultivator yearned for. Not many people know about that place, but we happen to know about it. If Brother Ning is willing to represent my Ruan clan. Ruanzhua stopped here. Ning Qing understood what he meant. That is, if he was willing to represent the Ruan clan, the other party would then talk about cooperation. If he did not want to, then forget it. Seeing Ning Qing remain silent, Ruanzhua added another sentence, the things in there are enough for you to advance to the Celestial Bridge realm. We will distribute these things according to the amount of effort we put in. However, there is one thing that we must get our hands on. As for what this thing is, forgive me for not being able to tell you. Will you tell me only if I agree? Ning Qing asked. Ruanzhua shook his head, I'm sorry, but this thing is something that my Ruan clan must obtain. Whether you know what this thing is or not, it will not affect our cooperation. Even if I agree, how can I help you get this thing back? Ning Qing spoke with a frown. Of course, someone will go in together. Ruanzhua's words caused Ning Qing to scold himself for being stupid. Someone from the Ruan clan would definitely go in together. How could they put all their hopes in the hands of a stranger? The Ruan clan must have taken a fancy to him because of his powerful spiritual consciousness. Then can you tell me what I can get from this? Ning Qing felt a little moved. As long as you agree, of course, I can tell you. However, Master needs to talk to you personally. Ruanzhua gave a warm smile. It seemed that Ning Cheng's agreement was within his expectations. Thunder Connection City was the premier city of the Lesser Thunder Star, and it was also the residence of the Lesser Thunder Star's celestial lord. After Ning Cheng followed Ruan Zhuo into Thunder Connection City, the first thing he did was not to find Jing Wuming and Lanya but to go to the Ruan clan. The Ruan clan looked very unremarkable on the surface, just like a very ordinary small clan. However, after Ning Cheng entered the Ruan clan's territory, he realized that there was another world inside. The starry sky essence chi in this place was extremely rich, much stronger compared to other places. Moreover, a powerful aura spread out, letting Ning Cheng know that there were many powerhouses in this place. It was not until Ning Cheng saw Ruan Cheng that he realized that what he saw was probably just a small part of it. This Ruan Cheng's cultivation most likely was in the Heaven's Mandate realm. Perhaps even the Lesser Thunder Star's celestial lord could not compare to him. Ning Cheng immediately thought of Lanya's evaluation of the Lesser Thunder Star's celestial lord, weak and incompetent. Initially, Ning Cheng did not care about it. But now, he finally felt some sympathy for the Lesser Thunder Star's celestial lord. If any celestial lord had a powerhouse like the Ruan clan, then the celestial lord would not be able to act tough. Ning Cheng did not know why a powerhouse like the Ruan clan would hide in a small place like the Lesser Thunder Star. Ruan Cheng had a tall stature with thick eyebrows and big eyes. His whole person gave off a majestic aura, a bit like a general on the battlefield, not a starry sky cultivator. Yes, Ruan Zhuo did not misjudge you. Your spiritual consciousness really is powerful. You can even come here safely. You are the person I am looking for. My name is Ruan Cheng. Dao friend Ning, please have a seat. Ruan Cheng was full of energy, and his tone was even more resounding. Ning Cheng cupped his fists. Many thanks for Manor Master Ruan's invitation, but I'm afraid this Ning is not qualified. No, you are qualified enough. I would like to ask for your help with two things. The first is to follow my daughter and help my daughter enter the Perpetual Moon Lake within the Time Wilderness. Perpetual Moon Lake. Ning Cheng repeated the words in doubt. He guessed that this should be the place that Ruan Zhuo had mentioned before. Yes, the Perpetual Moon Lake. Ruan Cheng spoke with certainty. There is an ancient desolate fort at the bottom of the Perpetual Moon Lake. That desolate fort contains perpetual moon pills. Medicinal pills left behind by ancient seniors? Ning Cheng asked again. He had never heard of perpetual moon pills. Ruan Cheng spoke up. No, perpetual moon pills are not artificially refined. They are formed from pure celestial river essence chi and have not undergone any artificial refinement. This kind of pill also has a complete set of laws, which doubles the effects of cultivation. Because it is not artificially refined, there are no side effects, and almost no traces of cultivation. Ning Cheng felt moved in his heart. Manor Master Ruan means that as long as I get some of these perpetual moon pills, I can easily advance to the Celestial Bridge realm. Ruan Cheng nodded in appreciation. Yes, your reward is perpetual moon pills. This kind of medicinal pill is extremely rare. Even in the striking order starry skies, it is not sold everywhere. As for what we want, you just have to listen to my daughter's instructions. Ning Cheng nodded. He knew that he had to follow Ruan Cheng's daughter. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not ask why, Ruan Cheng felt even more satisfied. My daughter is called Ruan Mingshu. Because of some misunderstandings about me, she is very close to a cultivator named Xiao Yanxiang. I hope that while you help me, you can also keep an eye on my daughter and not let her get too close to Xiao Yanxiang. Ning Cheng immediately understood that Ruan Cheng was not very satisfied with Xiao Yanxiang, while his daughter and Xiao Yanxiang had a close relationship. Ruan Cheng feared that his daughter and Xiao Yanxiang would mess around in the Time Wilderness and wanted him to act as a third wheel. Ning Cheng cursed in his heart. No matter how powerful his spiritual consciousness was, he could not stop two people from having an affair. Besides, this matter had nothing to do with him. I'm sorry, Manor Master Ruan, but I can't do it. Besides, I received an invitation from the Bright South Celestial River King to visit him in the Bright South Celestial River. I'm afraid that I can't stay in the Orchid Burrow's celestial river for too long. Ning Qing refused without hesitation. He even mentioned the bright South Celestial River King's name to make Wanqing feel afraid. Wanqing showed a slight smile. Wanzhua heard the message that the bright South Celestial River King left for you before he left. You don't have to worry about it. Well, if you find it difficult, we can forget about the second condition. After saying that, he did not wait for Ning Qing to answer and directly called out, Ming Shu, since you're here, come out and meet your partner, Ning Qing. Wanqing's meaning was clear. That is, you don't have to use the bright South Celestial River King to pressure me. You're just a fox pretending to be a tiger. Moreover, your relationship with the bright South Celestial River King is not as good as you said. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.